giải C năm nay.
Amid such intense competition, can they find the strength to bounce back?
Việc team em trùng khu khá nhiều nên cái lượng điểm thu thập được là không đủ để vào top 12.
Even so, for the Vietnamese representatives, missing out on the top 12 remains unthinkable.
Cái đó thì em không nghĩ tới, bởi vì line-up mùa này em khá là tự tin.
Động lực của em đến từ sự thất bại của mùa giải trước. Đó là một khoảng thời gian tồi tệ và rất dài đối với em, nên là mùa giải năm nay em phải cố gắng.
Vietnam's goal is not just to stay in the race, but to push as many opponents out of it as possible. While other regions are battling for every top 12 spot, no one seems to notice that Malaysia is closing in. Aurora and anyone can dream move like silent assassins, waiting for the fight and striking at the perfect moment.
Target kita orang nak lepas ke Vietnam lagi supaya dapat rasa macam dulu. Kita orang dah training lama.
Maybe tengok kita orang layak untuk pergi final 8 lah macam tu lah. Top 8 lah.
The race for the top 12 is nearing its end. Who will be left behind? Tune in to week 2 to find out.
Ate said the moon and the sun aren't rivals. I still believe in that.
Garena. Week 1 came to an end, and the battlefield of FFWS 2026 Spring had begun to take shape. Thailand rose to dominate the standings, claiming the entire top 4. 2 Team of the Day titles belong to Twisted Minds and Team Falcons. Team Falcons charge forward like a machine of destruction, the only team to break the 200-point mark with 4 dominant booyahs. AG doesn't need booyahs. They hunt eliminations, apply pressure, and hold firmly at top 2 as a warning to everyone.
Now he might get a 4th one here, and Han goes down! Cypher takes them all out!
Buriram United had a slow start, but Kings always know when to accelerate.
Through all of those players, dig way down on the ground, and Buriram coming in here to finish them off one after the other. Demon can't do much. It's a 4v1, and Moshi finally puts an end to that.
The class of the defending champions never truly fades. Indonesia became the stage of shocking upsets. Giants are falling. Even the EWC defending champions managed only 10 points on day 3, dropping all the way to top 18, an unbelievable collapse.
He gets knocked out as well. There goes Evo's 12th place, bottom 3, third game in a row.
But inside that chaos, a new generation is rising. Onyx, Bigatron, bold, explosive, fearless.
Bigatron with a back-to-back booyah!
Vietnam once started in flames, 3 booyahs. And Gao claimed Team of the Day 1, but that fire quickly began to slow down. Team Flash and WAG are still fighting to keep the hope alive.
Flash can't find the finisher just yet. They try to break through the glue wall. Baros panic, and he does not pick up Nameless, misses the opportunity, and Flash overwhelms AG Global.
while Heavy, P Esports, and even Gao themselves are starting to fall behind. And Malaysia, no longer the free points many expected them to be. They are more resilient, more proactive, more dangerous. And now, they are closing in on top 12, waiting for the perfect moment to break through. Week 2. The battle for the top 12 will be more brutal than ever. We're no longer just playing for points. We're fighting to secure the best possible chance, to claim a ticket to the grand finals. Who will rise? Who will fall? Find out in Week 2 of FFWS.
おい！それスノボじゃなくて人体だから。それにこれってケツでブレーキかけるやつだし、吉原大炎上の次は異世界大炎上なんてシャレになりませんから。
バカ！これぐらい犠牲を払ってこそコラボに対しての俺たちの気合が伝わるってもんだろ。
金ちゃんの言う通りある。コラボのためなら尻の一つや二つ差し出して当然ね。
ゲームは終わりだ。
皆さん、それって銃？
逃げるぞカグラ。開発チームから聞かされてねえよ。
しつこい男は嫌
出してやってくんねえかサダール。そいつは新橋じゃねえんだ。
僕なら噛まれてもいいってことですか？ケリーさん本当にごめんなさい。
さて行き先は？
ってもしかして僕またメガネだけになってない？
We're heading into Week 2 of the Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia 2026 Spring as the top 12 spots are starting to take shape. Thailand has settled into form. The experimentation phase is over. They are now in full control. Any sparks from the rising teams were quickly snuffed out. All 5 Thai representatives have secured places in the top 12. An unmistakable statement that this year's race belongs to Thailand. Thailand, the kings of Southeast Asia, enter this competition with the aura of a reigning champion. Reaching the top 12 is no longer an objective, but an expectation.
Borneo United will get that booyah because of great.
The race for the top spot may soon see no other region represented. With 4 Thai teams, Team Falcons, AG Global, Buriram United Esports, and Twisted Minds taking control.
มีความในใจอยากจะบอกบุรีรัมย์ครับอยากยิงหัวโจนะจัดเลยรอบเนี้ย
However, it's not only the top contenders. Avita, a newcomer with the makings of a dark horse. They didn't come here just to survive, but to prove themselves among the elite.
เพราะว่าเพิ่งได้ขึ้นมาเนี่ยครับแต่ก็อย่าประมาทพวกผมครับพวกผมเอาจริงครับ
And when Thailand turn it on, anyone in their path can become the next to be wiped out of the top 12.
คิดว่าทีมที่จะตกรอบน่าจะเป็นทีมออร่าครับเพราะแบบเป็นน้องใหม่ยังไม่รู้ฝีมือ
ขอให้เป็น RQ แล้วนะครับขอให้เขาแบบว่าไปก่อนเลยจะได้เล่นง่ายๆ
Indonesia had a forgettable week, with giants like RRQ and EVOS looking unusually quiet.
Karena kurang adaptasi aja sih, sama ya kurang berpengalaman dari player-player lainnya.
Ya kurang introspeksi diri sendiri aja lagi.
Is it a slow start, or are they waiting for the right moment to break through?
Kalau top 1 nanti kebaca gameplaynya.
On the road to the top 12, Vietnam remains a difficult opponent, consistently applying pressure on the Indonesian representatives.
Buat tim Vietnam mau lolos apa nggak lolos ya mending lu nggak usah lolos, soalnya kan lu main di negara lu sendiri ya. Jadi saran gua mending lu nonton aja.
Vietnam, a region that exploded in the early stages.
Cái lớp này chắc là lớp mạnh nhất của Gao từ trước này.
Gao có khả năng tầm 60% để vô địch giải C năm nay.
Amid such intense competition, can they find the strength to bounce back?
Việc team em trùng khu khá nhiều nên cái lượng điểm thu thập được là không đủ để vào top 12.
Even so, for the Vietnamese representatives, missing out on the top 12 remains unthinkable.
Cái đó thì em không nghĩ tới, bởi vì line-up mùa này em khá là tự tin.
Dạ, động lực của em đến từ sự thất bại của mùa giải trước. Đó là một khoảng thời gian tồi tệ và rất dài đối với em, nên là mùa giải năm nay em phải cố gắng.
Vietnam's goal is not just to stay in the race, but to push as many opponents out of it as possible. While other regions are battling for every top 12 spot, no one seems to notice that Malaysia is closing in. Aurora and anyone can dream move like silent assassins, waiting for the fight and striking at the perfect moment.
Target kita orang nak lepas ke Vietnam lagi supaya dapat rasa macam dulu. Kita orang dah training lama.
Maybe tengok kita orang layak untuk pergi final 8 lah macam tu lah. Top 8 lah.
The race for the top 12 is nearing its end. Who will be left behind? Tune in to week 2 to find out.
Ate said the moon and the sun aren't rivals. I still believe in that.
Garena. Week 1 came to an end, and the battlefield of FFWS 2026 Spring had begun to take shape. Thailand rose to dominate the standings, claiming the entire top 4. 2 Team of the Day titles belong to Twisted Minds and Team Falcons. Team Falcons charge forward like a machine of destruction, the only team to break the 200-point mark with 4 dominant booyahs. AG doesn't need booyahs. They hunt eliminations, apply pressure, and hold firmly at top 2 as a warning to everyone.
Now he might get a 4th one here, and Han goes down! Cypher takes them all out!
Buriram United had a slow start, but Kings always know when to accelerate.
Through all of those players, dig way down on the ground, and Buriram coming in here to finish them off one after the other. Demon can't do much. It's a 4v1, and Moshi finally puts an end to that.
The class of the defending champions never truly fades. Indonesia became the stage of shocking upsets. Giants are falling. Even the EWC defending champions managed only 10 points on day 3, dropping all the way to top 18, an unbelievable collapse.
He gets knocked out as well. There goes Evo's 12th place, bottom 3, third game in a row.
but inside that chaos, a new generation is rising. Onyx, Bigatron, bold, explosive, fearless.
Bigatron with a back-to-back booyah!
Vietnam once started in flames, 3 booyahs. And Gao claimed Team of the Day 1, but that fire quickly began to slow down. Team Flash and WAG are still fighting to keep the hope alive.
Flash can't find the finisher just yet. They try to break through the glue wall. Barros panic, and he does not pick up Nameless, misses the opportunity, and Flash overwhelms AG Global.
While Heavy, P Esports, and even Gao themselves are starting to fall behind. And Malaysia, no longer the free points many expected them to be. They are more resilient, more proactive, more dangerous. And now, they are closing in on top 12, waiting for the perfect moment to break through. Week 2. The battle for the top 12 will be more brutal than ever. We're no longer just playing for points. We're fighting to secure the best possible chance, to claim a ticket to the grand finals. Who will rise? Who will fall? Find out in Week 2 of FFWS.
おい！それスノボじゃなくて人体だから。それにこれってケツでブレーキかけるやつだし、吉原大炎上の次は異世界大炎上なんてシャレになりませんから。
だがこれくらい犠牲を払ってこそコラボに対しての俺たちの気合が伝わるってもんだろ。
銀ちゃんの言う通りある。コラボのためなら尻の一つや二つ差し足して当然ね。
ゲームは終わりだ。
え、皆さん、それって銃？
いけるぞカグラ。開発チームから聞かされてねえよ。
しつこい男は嫌いやろ。
アームストロングサイクロンです。アームストロング、なんでこんなとこにまで。
話してやってくんねえかサダール。そいつは新橋じゃねえんだ。
僕なら噛まれてもいいってことですか？ケリーさん、本当にごめんなさい。
さて行き先は？
ってもしかして僕またメガネだけになってない？
Running down those glue walls, and that removes RRQ from the equation. What a decision made here by the Vietnamese squad. BE secure. Still up on his feet. On fire drops him. One final player from the side of Twisted Minds. 3v1. Make that 3v-none. Falcons, you're back-to-back Clash Squad and Battle Royale champions, the dominators of Thailand.
Represent, gotta do it hella big, had to run it back again, light it up. Represent, had to do it hella big, had to run it back again, light it up. Let it drop. Let it drop. Let it drop.
subscribers to the Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia 2026 Spring. You know what time it is. You know what weekend it is. We are here for the knockout phase 2 of the competition. We've finally gotten out of phase number 1. Now we're going to be jumping into phase number 2, meaning teams are going to be locking in their spots into the grand final. Your cast for today is going to be none other than myself, as well as Husky. My name is Annalena, in case you didn't know. But we're going to have a fun time today, Husky, because we are going to be seeing effectively the current strongest top 12 teams playing for our first 2 spots to the finals.
First 2 spots, all they need to do is to finish top 2 by the end of today, and they will not only get a fast track into the grand finals, but also secure themselves at least $9,000, which is the bare minimum if you finish 12th, which will only happen if you enter grand finals. But the grand prize pool is $100,000 for the champion, 50,000 for second, and 22 grand for third. And on top of that, every day a team will be selected as the team of the day based on their performance, which is usually the most points. They get an extra 250. Finals MVP gets another 4,000.
Yeah, so we gotta encourage our teams for playing the absolute best for every play day. So if you do well, it's gonna pay off for you in the long run. Now, just a quick update for the tournament timeline in case you haven't been tuning in to the tournament thus far. We are out of phase number 1. For the past 2 weeks, we have been getting our teams to play in their groupings. They've been trying to find their place on the leaderboard. But now, because we're in phase 2, this is where things start to get a little bit iffy for some teams, because now we're starting to select our teams that are going to be going into the finals. And this is where every day that you don't do well, it's going to come back to bite you, Husky.
Yeah. And at least for the teams that are playing today, they have the most chances of qualifying if they don't make it today. But for the teams that didn't finish top 12 from phase 1, it will be decided, the playdate will be decided based on their positions in phase number 1. So all you have to know is that today is the top 12. Tomorrow we will have 2 teams gone by today, and then the other 2 teams from 13-14 will join in tomorrow. And then the sequence continues until we've gotten our top 12 teams that will be playing in the grand finals. This is the very descriptive version of the format. Top 2 team of each day advances to finals, and the daily 3rd to 12 will advance to the next day, all the way until we find the last 12 teams.
Yeah, so currently this is where we are currently at in the tournament, in case you want to have that visual graphic. I know some of us are visual learners out there. It's okay. I understand. I am one of them. So yeah, we are still in the knockout phase. Technically, nobody is out of the competition. So everyone is still in the running. But for some teams, time is ticking. And for some teams, they only have effectively 1 play day to play. So very, very dangerous territory to be in. Point system's going to be pretty typical for Free Fire. The higher you place in terms of placements, the more points you're going to get. If you grab that booyah, you get the 12 points to yourself. And each elimination is also going to give you an additional point as well. And especially this late into the tournament, those points are going to really matter if you're trying to aim for top 2. Essentially, the goal is top 2 for everyone from this point onwards.
100%. And I think just for people who are unsure which team is playing, we'll get into that in a little bit. But just for those who are still new to competitive Free Fire, we have this rule where you only can use 1 unique active skills per team, per player, and that means that you won't see any duplicate abilities, just like how it was a couple of seasons back then. It does allow teams to really show us their dynamics and their personality. We've gotten a lot more diverse in the meta, and I think this rule set itself has given us some of the best games.
I don't know how you can improve Free Fire at this point. You know, like, what else can you do to improve the game and make the esport even more competitive? Like, over the years, we've just been adding more and more and more. And on the surface, it seems quite complex, but I think in the grand scheme of things, every change to the competitive scene has really just amped up the level of competitiveness to the next level. And I kind of wonder at this point, Husky, like, what do? You know, like, if you're on the team on Garena, like, what do you want to do to Free Fire to make this game even better?
I mean, the first thing they did was remove the 10-game cap for Champion Rush, which I think is fantastic. We might get 15 games
Oh
for
my
the
gosh,
finals.
this again.
No, it's just an interesting idea to entertain, even though it's hardly unlikely we'll ever repeat the 10-game slug we had at EWC, which was one of the greatest grand finals.
Hey, we said that scenario was impossible to begin with, and we still got it.
Yeah, it was.
So
I mean,
anything goes.
We were given one of the greatest grand finals, right? But it's pretty hard to replicate that. Either way, the 12 teams that we're playing today are on your screens. You know, BRU, RRQ, AG Global, Bigotron by Vitality, Twisted Minds, Heavy, and these are just some of the familiar names. The Falcons are here as well. Flash, Onyx Olympus, Secret WAG, Aurora Gaming, and Argon MY. And for those who might be confused, what is Secret WAG? Basically, it's a collaboration between Team Secret and WAG, and Argon MY is basically just ACD, or Anyone Can Dream. They got acquired by Argon MY.
Yeah, now just a quick recap here for our match schedule. We haven't started any games, okay, so don't worry, you have not missed anything up until this point. We're going to be kicking things off here today on Purgatory for our first map, followed up by Nexterra, then Solara, Kalahari, Bermuda, and then of course we do have our final 6th random map of the day. And yes, this final map is only going to be decided when it's time to play that 6th map, so nobody's going to have any secret info over their opponents. It's really just going to be the admins telling everybody at the last second, alright guys, we're playing on this map, good luck, have fun, and we're just going to throw everyone out the plane, because that's how we do things here in Free Fire. We love to go a little crazy, and let's be real, I think we all enjoy a little bit of crazy here. But Husky, we have all of our players in their seats, they're ready to go for game number 1. Exciting times. So we're starting on Purgatory.
Starting on one of the biggest maps in the competitive pool, and at least from the stats of Purgatory, we can sort of see how the basics still are almost the same. You need to be able to traverse the map in some kind of way, so vehicles are incredibly important. But while we have the time, I feel like I've seen a few viewers asking, what about the other teams who are not playing today? So I'll let you know. GOW and Shadow Esports are playing tomorrow. AVD or Avida and Evil's Divine are playing on Sunday, and then the remaining 2 teams, the GAM XPE or Gigabyte Marines XPE Sports and Magna Esports Club, will only be playing next week, which is the last week of Phase 2. Where they will play all 3 days to see which final 6 teams will go into the final. So if you are missing out on one of these 6 teams, you can always refer back to what was just mentioned. So until then, we get the top 12 teams from Phase 1 to duke it out, and they have the longest, I would say, lifespan in Phase 2.
I mean, it doesn't mean that because you have a longer lifespan that it guarantees you a spot in the grand final, right? You still need to play well, which puts a lot more pressure on the teams that didn't do well during Phase 1, right? Like, clearly, the rules are set in place to reward teams that do well during Phase number 1. Like, sure, you can still make it into the grand finals if you make it in, Phase 2 as one of the last remaining teams to come into the groups, but you're not making your journey any easier for yourself. If anything, you're playing on the edge. And all it takes is one little gust of wind to throw you off the edge and to potentially have you not even make it to the grand final. So, for anyone that is kind of missing out on this first play day, this is going to be an important time for them to research the teams, to see where they're going to be dropping, who is playing like what style, and I think to keep an eye out of who is looking to be on form. Because if you are a team that is confident in going for hot drops, if you want to play aggressive, if you can identify teams that are going to really pop off in these next couple days and you potentially shut them down, that might work out really well for your team. But of course, it's here for Phase number 2. Anything goes, and this is going to apply to all of our competitors too. No one knows who's going to be going all out for day number 1.
And there's a $5 fine for whoever walked in front of the live camera just now from BRU. Good on you. I think I feel like it's their 5th member. What's his name again? I feel like that could be Turner. Could be him. They just walked in front of the cam. But either way, here's our predictions on the screen. Generally, in agreement for both BRU
Pretty
and
close.
Falcons.
Yeah.
I have Heavy, and you have RQ. But I think Heavy needs a bit more elaboration on it. So I'll take initiative. I think just because they got Team of the Day on Sunday, well, that's one of the primary reasons. But I feel like Heavy has shown some really good heavy hitting plays in the first phase, and compared to RQ, I think Heavy can feel a bit more consistent in the long run.
Yeah, I think they can, but I think it also kind of depends on everyone else that's playing in the competition, right? Because there are definitely days, and and events where Heavy does really well, and then other events where Heavy just kind of is non-existent. You know, I think that's the one thing that's kind of holding me back from wanting them to really be a team that I keep an eye out on. Quick recap in case anyone's wondering how Heavy did during phase number 1. So for their first play day, they scored 88 points, which is very well if we consider the average scoreline for a lot of teams playing. Their second play day was probably the most disappointing play day, 34 points. Not the best day, unfortunately, but you know, sometimes it does happen. Third play day was 64 points, and then they ended their final play day with 120 points. So I think Heavy, like they definitely show days where they are great, and then they have other days where they're just kind of there. You know, they're not really a team that really stands out. They do definitely have like on and off days. I think the question is whether or not today is an on day or is it an off day for Heavy.
Hopefully it's an on day, because I think, you know, the 34 points is definitely the one that stings the most, because you add a couple more good rounds to that, like they probably would have been in top 3. But judging by their highest record, right? I think they set the record for the second highest point in phase 1. The highest one being held by RQ Kazu, which is 2 points more, so this 122. Overall, I still think Heavy has a really good chance. I think, you know, game 1 is going to give us a very good litmus test on where Heavy stands, how they feel coming into phase number 2. Same as the other 2 editors, we're going to get ready to hop into game number 1, and it will be on Purgatory.
Yes, so Purgatory is going to be the map that we kick things off with today. Question is, what kind of a circle are we going to be getting? Will it be a more grounded circle, or are we going to be starting to get some of those very weird circles right off the bat today? We're going to be seeing a very split river circle, because that is a very big possibility on Purgatory. And we've seen teams, some struggle, some thrive, and some just get the coin flip wrong, because sometimes that circle really is a coin flip away from winning you a game and even losing you a game.
It's a very generous flight path. It was the same towards the end of phase number 1, where me and Neptune were really hoping for something that challenges the teams a bit more, but so far we haven't found any luck in that. Either way, there should be lesser hot drops, considering some of the teams aren't playing at least for today. I think on the southern side, there might be an overlap between Falcons and RQ, who usually likes to go towards Fire Brigade on the southern island, and this could get messy pretty quickly. Falcons, they are detouring away with 2 other players.
Yeah, I think for game number 1, this is probably the safer bet for the team that is going to be trying to go for that split. We do see Pina is the furthest member away from his team, but okay, Falcons are trying to dodge a bullet. RRQ though, I think I'm wondering here, does this team want to maybe try to press the issue? Because right now, Falcons, they can also fight back. They're trying to find compounds to hide in. Oh no, Kororo though gets taken out by Ma'al right off the get-go and is going to be taken out. So already a point on the board here for RRQ, but for Falcons, at least the team did successfully split. So if they do need to go for those revives, that is going to be a very real possibility for the team. But Husky, I have to say, this is probably one of the worst teams to be giving those early eliminations to, because we know for a fact that last week, RRQ, they looked really good. And we know this team can be emotionally charged. To start like this is probably the best way to really get this team amped up.
Yeah. And on to Falcons too, which I think RQ probably has a very good idea who they just shot down, considering that these 2 teams have not changed their drop spots on Purgatory at all for the past 2 years at least. I think Falcons probably just, you know, parachuted out of the plane slightly later. You sort of missed that timing, and I think they were ready to give up bodies. That's why they went for 2 to split. The revive still came true. We even saw On Fire get a knockdown onto one of the RRQ members, but unfortunately no takeouts there. So RRQ still walks out the winner. I can't say the same for Secret WAG, who did lose Tikui and now are scrambling to bring him back.
Yeah. So aside from that one elimination, Tico is back. So we are back to a full lobby here with our 12 teams. So it looks like everyone is just playing a little bit slowly for our first game today, just trying to get a feel of the lobby to see if it's going to be hyper aggressive or it's going to be a little bit slower. It's definitely feeling like the same lobbies that we saw last week, Husky. Like teams, they do sometimes sometimes they'll take risks, but it seems like safety seems to be the higher priority for a lot of our competitors so far. But yeah, WAG, they're hoping to spring a trap here onto Argon MY, but yeah, I think traps, the gang knows. So who's going to make the first move here?
Yeah, WAG has a very good idea on
Oh,
what they
Tikui?
wanna do. They
Hello?
did use the binoculars further ahead to make sure that there's no backup, and that should give them the very first knockdown of this encounter. I think Argon MY basically just caught with the hands down. They did get the revive, but they will temporarily be outnumbered. And on that low ground, there are a couple of buildings to work with, and even Blue was in possession. Alif taking a couple of shots there with the Riptide Rhythm coming from the high ground, and Nan already on the flank. This is going from bad to worse for Argon.
Yeah, it's not looking too great. They're about to be sandwiched in. We do have Traps running in the opposite direction, so he's just going to be on revive duty for the team. But the thing is he going to be able to successfully do it? We have Fires trying to keep Tikui here, but Argon MY, not really the best start, unfortunately, but thankfully Traps is able to bring back Noki. So yeah, this is not going to be the end for Argon MY, but this will severely cripple their early game, which is very unfortunate considering how well ACD has actually done up until this point. I know I've kind of been talking about this team, especially in their matches earlier on in the tournament, because there wasn't really a lot that we were expecting. We didn't really know what to expect, really. But ACD, or now Argon MY, they look fantastic in Phase 1, so now I'm kind of curious to see like how well are they going to do in Phase 2. Now, speaking of Phase 2, Twisted Minds are off to a huge start here, grabbing so many eliminations, 2 to their name, 3 to their name now, basically crippling Onyx. Now, thankfully, Onyx will have another player to pick them back up. On the other side, though, we do see Heavy in combat here with Falcons. Alan scouting out for his next target. Is he going to be able to grab Korora here? Korora going to be able to go off to the side. Alan throwing a couple of shots in. Won't be able to get a big body shot though. We do see the blue zone moving in, and he's going to try and chase down Korora. Is this the last player on Falcons? Husky? I think he might be.
Good. There's a chance it is. Korora will try to fight back, and unfortunately not able to get any takedowns. There are still surviving Falcon members, as with Kororo's demise, they are still in the game with 2 members, in fact. So Falcons still getting the revival game going. I think for Argon MY it's unfortunate because WAG was just a bit sharper on their moves, that basically covering the bases, and now Argon MY are really on the ropes. They have one of the members escaping to the high ground, but Secret WAG knows exactly what to do to cover that distance. As Fires gets knocked down, they're on the hunt for the last member, at least in combat with Secret WAG. Argon MY actually has 2 players already in the clear, so they will basically go on the same run as Falcons for now, where you are focusing on reviving, finding a safe spot, and trying to loot up. Unfortunately for Alif, it's just not their day. Alif and Noki, they got shot down again. Argon MY onto one of the rougher round ones.
It's probably one of the roughest round ones we've seen so far in the tournament. So we'll see if Argon MY is able to make some kind of recovery. In the meantime, though, we do have WAG grouping up as a team. We've got a couple of Onyx players nearby, though, and one of them is getting pretty close. I'd be surprised if they want to try and go for some kind of sandwich maneuver. It's just Syra, though, up against the whole roster of WAG. Will be taken out in practically one shot thanks to Hong. So we have another elimination under WAG's belt, up to 7 now. 6 minutes into the game, so already up to a really strong start on Purgatory.
And WAG, I think like what, last you checked, 6-7 eliminations. BTR having 4, up there 7, making number 8. A full team revive by Team Falcons. And Onyx Olympus on the run too. My Secret WAG are not letting down. This is the kind of aggression that I think back in 2025 was during, I think, prime WAG. This was how they like to play. Fairly early game-centric aggression, and they just kept the snowball going. And a lot of times, teams that move these fast, it's a double-edged sword, right? You might run into a brick wall and, you know, get down yourself. But for WAG, they just move so fast that teams that they run into generally don't have much time to react.
They are running so hard and fast into these fights. They're about to run into Flash. Now, the thing is, Flash is split. They've gone for a 2-2 split. ABCD is going to be tethered up there by Mink. But the question is, will they be able to survive this 4-man rush coming in by WAG? Because they are bloodthirsty, they are hungry, they smell blood in the water. But Tikui going to be the one punished, instead hitting the ground, followed by Nan. 3 players on the ground, and all of a sudden, this pressure from WAG is turning into pressure that they need to deal with.
WAG might have ran out of steam because Team Flash looked to be a juicy prey, but it's a 1v4 and I don't think there's any way out of this one. Off to a strong start, but unfortunately the flames went out too quickly. Out in 12th spot, but I guess at least WAG still walked away with 8 points, which is not too shabby, but they definitely would have wished that they could get more.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate that the Hunters sort of fell into their own trap there. They thought that they'd be able to take out Flash, but just a couple of really nicely timed shots was all that Flash needed to essentially take control and take down WAG. So already down to 11 teams in the lobby, still have 44 players, so everyone has been revived. Falcons in the meantime, they're going to have to deal with their next target here. It's going to be AG Global, and we know that Falcons, they had a pretty weak start to the game, so I hope that they've got enough macro to deal with this next opponent.
First time to see AG on the screen, and Falcons, they just barely got back onto their feet, and Dude just shoots
King
2 of them down. This looks to be where it ends for Falcons on fire. Can't even fight back much, and I don't blame them. Falcons never really got to get off the ground from the beginning. And now it's AG's turn with the wipeout and having 8 eliminations under the belt.
It really didn't help that they were off to a really weak start, unfortunately. You know, those early eliminations really coming in to bite them. But what can you really do? You know, if you run into AG, it's probably one of the last teams you're going to be able to walk away as a full roster. So down to 10 teams, 9 minutes into the game. We still have Heavy and RRQ kind of camping each other out here as next door neighbors. They're not going to be leaving their porch for now, as they're going to try and determine where this next circle is going to be. Twisted Minds, though, going to catch sight of Flash as they are going to be moving together as a unit in a couple of vehicles. They're also about to run into... Oh, okay. Aurora Gaming is there as well. It might turn into a 3-way battle here, Husky.
Good chance. I mean, Flash, they did get some good loot from taking down Secret WAG earlier on, deciding to back off far away from Twisted Minds, which I think is a smarter idea. I mean, Twisted Minds are in the lightning zone, so you don't really want to fight into that. And because Flash has vehicles, they could easily relocate when the time comes. They're not really in a rush just yet. It's just the third phase of the circle. Plenty of room to work with.
They do have room, but I do think they were hoping that they'd be lucky with the circle prediction, but it basically went in the opposite direction. So they're going to have to try and fight their way through Twisted Minds and possibly even Onyx if Onyx decide to rotate to the left-hand side to make their way into the circle. But for now, we do have a great view of these teams. Heavy and RRQ dominating the central area. We also have Aurora trying to find their own position, but they also need to be very careful of Twisted Minds, who is camping that west side of that circle. Couple of teams you have to keep an eye out for. We still have Argon playing on the outside. Flash need to find a way in. Onyx are looking pretty close. They do just need to be careful of what angle they decide to take. But it looks like for now, Twisted Minds can be the first team to make the move.
And right in front of them is Aurora Gaming. The Malaysian team's trying to hold them back. What a shot from June. That is some good stuff. And now they are able to hold jump back as well, as June is removed from the equation. Diamond does have a nade cooked up and the inhaler by Jump. Nade unfortunately bounces off one of the glue walls. The second one comes through, and Ma'al decides to join the fight as well. The Axel getting knocked down, but instant recovery by his teammate. RRQ is on the western side, so now Aurora getting pincered left, right, and center. Onyx decides to come into the party uninvited as well. A 4-way fight involving 3 nations.
A really awkward position to be in for Twisted Minds. They're currently split as a team, so Diamond and Exposy, if any of them fall, no one's going to be there to pick each other up, so they might have to try and tag team their way out of this, or Diamond will have to be the one to try and draw some attention away, and then maybe Exposy can come in from the back. Oh my god! Diamond coming in and crippling Aurora!
Get him back up.
He
Alan stops him, stops his rampage. With Diamond down, Aurora gets a chance to get back up again, and Flash also comes in for the rescue. The Zong with a double knockdown, but he is so exposed. Exposy could get a shot in, but he's thinking of whether he wants to take the shot, because it will expose where he is, and unfortunately his teammates are all gone. That means Aurora Gaming gets a second chance in life after, I think, a full squad pickup. None of them actually got eliminated despite Diamond's efforts, and that's good news for the Malaysians. Heavy, on the other hand, are making work of BTR, and not only that, Team Flash is also doing the same.
And it's an awkward position here for both Flash and Bigatron, because they're basically playing with that fence on the roadside. So they're out in the open, and Flash are looking to take down Bigatron in a head-on fight here, using so many glue walls to try and close the distance. In the meantime, though, it looks like Onyx has been eliminated on the other side. We have Koja, as well as his teammate, launching onto the other side into Heavy's compound, because they want to avoid this fight up against Flash. And look at this, Heavy is actually protecting them.
And this is such an unintended interaction, but it could work out in one of their favors. If he's on the second floor, and I don't think BTR will want to make an exploration as of now. That means Heavy will be safe Even for Aurora Gaming, they need to start moving in, and this is a bit too compact for that much teams as another team gets removed from the game. 8 teams remain. BRU looking fine and dandy and extremely healthy, but they do need to get out into the open to get further into the circle, and they will have AG to deal with.
They've got AG that they have to deal with, but they also need to worry about Aurora as well, who is in that circle right now. The blue zone is moving. Moshi's really low as well, so they're going to have to really be careful using those glue walls as they try to approach and find that angle to get them into that next blue zone. But Buriram's only sitting on 4 eliminations at the moment. If they can get a 1-tap on any of these AG players, this might be how they can find that safety within that safe zone. This is Wasana leading the charge here with Get High. If they can break through, this is going to break through the defenses of AG. And look at this, AG are panicking themselves, looking to back up. But Du's been caught by Moshi. That's a huge 1-tap there. Du gets dropped yet again, and Wasana going to be starting and ripping through AG. And there's nothing stopping Buriram from taking them out 1 by 1. Now up to 5 eliminations, looking for more. In the meantime, Argon MY has been taken out on the other side of the map. And we have Get High trying to pick up his teammate Wasana. Buriram, things are looking pretty bad, but they do manage to pick each other up. And oh no, their health bars drop in the last second there, Husky.
Yeah, the play zone started to hurt a lot more than they would have liked, and I believe they were probably shot from outside from inside the circle. That's why suddenly the play zone was the one that took them down, and BRU's members cut by half, giving RQ a pretty good chance of winning this out as BTR also clears the building heavy out in 6th spot. The Indonesians are doing pretty well so far. RQ with the full squad left and BTR only suffering 1 casualty. But one of the teams that survived longer than expected is definitely Aurora Gaming. But I think still at least 3 of the members left alive. BRU have to deal with RQ on the opposite end. You see the grenades being thrown out, the blue wall melters towards the direction, I believe, of BTR, who just cleared out Aurora.
Yeah, unfortunately, Aurora was completely exposed. They tried to move with that blue zone, but they do eventually get taken down, leaving us with our top 4 teams right now, Husky. Bigatron, Buriram, Flash, and RRQ. But the thing is, for Buriram, things are not looking too great. They're being sniped from the rooftop thanks to Ma'al. Even Moshi gets taken down. And actually, that's the entire Buriram roster. We're down to top 3.
Basically scattered into the open too. There's not really much cover for BRU to work with, and losing half the team doesn't really help with the case either. Flash and RQ are the 2 teams with the full squad left alive, with Flash having the highest win rate probability according to our API, but BTR have done crazier things, and the God shoots down Ma'al, and now he needs help. Those blue wall melters are starting to do work on the defenses of RQ. They need to get into cover. The grenades are coming through. It's a firework display from Team Flash as the Zom nails 2 of them, and his teammates will gladly follow up. RQ down to just Abai.
Down to Abai, all thanks to Bigatron, who was there to clean up RRQ. So we'll see if Abai is able to try and play for placements, but Koja's looking for him, and that's going to be it. RRQ are out of the running, leaving our last 2 teams to be Bigatron and Team Flash. And look at where that circle is going to be moving. It's going into that top right-hand corner, which is open ground here for Team Flash. I mean, if you're Bigatron, how do you even make it in as that circle starts moving? Because you have to abandon your compound. You have the God on the rooftop. He's going to be able to rain down bullets from up top. Bigatron, I hope you have a plan for this, because if you don't, this is going to be an easy booyah for Flash.
With the circle moving as well, the God can easily just be the eyes for his teammates. And Bigatron, they just ate the return rhythm from behind. That position was perfect. They need to get rid of the God, but the rest of Flash is coming in, and Koja just got absolutely swarmed. Diggs all on his own, and there's nothing that Bigatron could do in that spot. Team Flash with the Game 1 booyah.
Game 1 booyah, perfect position. They reacted perfectly to that next rotation for the circle. I kind of feel for Bigatron, you know. Do you think, you know, after seeing where that next circle was going to move, should they have actually made that move a little bit sooner? Because it felt like they were waiting, and it almost felt like they waited too long. And once they realized that the circle wasn't in their favor, that they kind of just been like, okay guys, cross your fingers, hope to die. I hope we have enough blue balls. We're gonna run and gun and just see what happens.
I think it's a pretty tough spot to be in, because you don't really know where the 4th member of Team Flash is at. And even if they did, like just now, there's just very little that they could do. They were outnumbered. They didn't have the best position, and they did give it a go. But Team Flash proved to be in a in a spot that is a bit too solid for BTR to dismantle. Although I would say that BTR did a pretty good job surviving until top 2 despite losing one of the players pretty early on.
Yeah, I mean, there was also, you know, that contributing factor that Flash did kind of help them get rid of RRQ, right? Because RRQ tried to storm their compound. They tried to take it away in that final moment. It was just all the AoE softened them up, and Begatron came in and swiped up those eliminations too. So definitely, I think a few things kind of working towards both of these teams, but I just feel like, unfortunately for Begatron, they felt a little trapped. You know, they couldn't really escape that compound. There wasn't really anywhere to go. If they ran out, Flash was already in position to take them out. So, you know, that circle really working in Team Flash's favor. So congratulations to Flash. You know, this is great for the team. They've managed to get a bunch of points to kick things off for the day. I mean, it's just game number 1. Anything really is going to go for the next final 5 games. But for Team Flash fans, you'll be feeling pretty happy that the team is off to a really strong start.
And they didn't do too poorly in phase 1 as well. They finished in a spot, and I think when you look at their 4 play days, they have 1 amazing days. Day 2, 92 points, but the rest sure is, you know, around the 60-point mark, but at least there's consistency, right? That's something that I think a lot of the teams in Free Fire lack, or, you know, that need to rely on a bit more, which is just staying consistent. Dragons Esports from Saudi Arabia proved that point as well. They might not be the best in gunfight, but they were one of the top 6 finalists at EWC when no one knew who they were. So I think Team Flash, they have a pretty good chance if they keep this up to finish top 2, and if they do, I think it's a win for Team Flash, but it's quite a big loss for everyone else, because that means the heavy hitters are going to be going into the next day. So they better buckle up, you know. I'd rather have the heavy hitters qualify today so we get a more fleshed out lobby for the rest of phase 2.
Yeah, I don't think the heavy hitters are in any rush to leave the lobby. I kind of feel like they're just going to take day 1 easy, just because they're just like, okay, we're not in any rush. We still have a few play days to go. We're going to take it easy. We're going to be okay. I mean, it's probably not a bad thing if they got in early, because they can also technically not reveal all their strats going into finals, but maybe it's a player preference kind of thing too. I know a lot of teams in general in esports, they rather take the longer route because it just feels a lot better to consistently play the game than to have that really super long break leading up to like grand finals, for example, because it does kind of take you out of that mindset. It's only really the veteran teams that can kind of move past that, because they'd be used to that. As for some of our newer teams, it's a bit harder for them to get into that grand finals mindset if they've had such a long break. But a match MVP Husky is none other than the Zom.
The Zom, I mean, he has some amazing moments, right? Like his grenades, his long range support. But overall, it's just the back end support from the side of Team Flash that really made this happen. Although the teams that didn't get the booyah, some of them actually got a lot of points just from elimination. BTR, for an example, Kojak pocketed 7, AG Dew got 5, Jonah also got 5 before he got knocked out. Even to the extent that Alan from Heavy, even though they didn't make it that far in game 1, at least he had 4 eliminations. So there's some points for everyone out there.
Yeah, and let's not forget about WAG. I know they got eliminated in 12th place, but they got 8 eliminations before they went down. So I feel like there were a lot of points allocated, at least split amongst our teams for match number 1. So this is just, I guess, foreshadowing what's going to be happening for the remainder of our games. But overall, for our loadouts here, Husky, okay, thoughts on the current loadouts that we've been seeing in the tournament? Not just this one in particular, but, you know, overall, do you feel like teams are starting to be a bit more open in their choice of actives?
I think generally, yes. Teams are really starting to branch out into their identity, right? Like certain teams, they go for the A124. Certain teams go for the Nero. And I think that's like one of the biggest differences. Steffi not so much in Battle Royale, but it does tell you what the squads generally want to achieve. Teams with the Nero really value the zone control, whereas team with A124, for example, they just want to get an upper hand in these close quarter combat. And I think both have their own uniqueness, which wouldn't have really been the case if we didn't have the 1 active skill per player rule. So that's why at the start I did say it gave us some of the best compositions, some of the best characters and personalities from different teams. Booyah for Team Flash, 24 points for them, but BTR not too far behind. They got 21, BRU has 16, even Heavy has 14 as well. I think the only team that really missed out was Falcons, who got none, but I don't blame them. Even for Secret WAG, even though they got knocked out first, at least they had 8 eliminations to make up for that.
Yeah, actually, if we just have a look at, the number of eliminations across the board, it's pretty even for this lobby. Aside from Secret WAG and Team Falcons, where these teams, Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong teams here. Yeah, so it was only really Falcons that didn't get anything in terms of eliminations. So for game number 1, I thought it'd be a lot more top-heavy. I don't know about you, Husky, but it's very, very spread, considering that this was also Purgatory. Like, we saw so many revives. I think it was only up until the 3rd circle, we were still sitting on 10 teams, but just the revives, the back-to-back-to-back revives, like, it's inflating the number of points that teams are able to farm. And if you are a high kill team, this is something that you should be capitalizing on, because these are essentially free points if you can successfully nail these eliminations while surviving for as long as possible. Like, sure, you don't get the booyah, but we've seen games where teams that score so many eliminations, like, they can still make top 3.
A lot of good examples out there, right? The Thai teams are essentially the best examples we have out there. We've seen games where, Falcons, they didn't finish first, and then you look at the scoreboard, they just have like 20 eliminations more than other people. So they overtake the leaderboard. And that's why I think from the genesis of this current competitive Free Fire point system, we've been saying that eliminations is so important, because it makes up for, I would say, the placement points that you might potentially lose out if you don't get the booyah. And obviously, I'm not saying that you should only hunt for eliminations, but for teams who are capable of doing that, they have a lot more ways to kind of muster up some points if they do not get the booyah.
Yeah, on a technical level, you could technically say that a lobby could, not necessarily possible, but a lobby is more likely to scale based off of elimination points rather than placements. Because, if you get the booyah, 12 points is pretty good, Husky, but I think it's much easier to secure a whole bunch of eliminations and to get decent placements rather than relying on trying to get a high placement or a booyah and scoring very little, or in the case of some teams, sometimes no eliminations. Now, normally teams that get the booyah, they will have one, at least 3-4 to their name. But in the grand scheme of things, eliminations is just a better scaling point system, assuming you can get the eliminations to begin with, because it's high risk as well. We also have to consider that every time you try and go for an elimination, you're putting yourself at risk of being removed from the competition too. So yeah, if you have the skill, if you have the capability to farm those eliminations, get them, get those points.
I think at the end of the day, it's, if you think about it, I want a booyah spur for elimination, I need to pick out 12 players. But 12 players is essentially 3 full teams, and do you have what it takes to take out 3 full teams? Because if you do, you not only get 12 points, but you also gain 1 placement point if all 12 teams are still present in the lobby. There's that whole mathematical situation, which it can be a headache if we think too deep into it. There's very little need unless it's that tight. But you get the idea. They're equally important. Teams that are very good at surviving sometimes struggle with eliminations, and when push comes to shove, when we have champion rush as the win condition, you got to know how to fight.
All right, we're going to be jumping into Next Terra for map number 2 here, folks. And so far, it's a pretty neutral flight path. Are we going to be seeing any potential hot drops? It looks like Flash might be running into AG here, Husky.
Well, Team Flash did have a good round 1. If they take out AG, it would be quite a tale to tell. Seems like they're not going to let anyone go. Team Flash are going to run towards AG right now. Nameless, basically isolated, but Dio ends up getting knocked down by the God's ability, and this could allow Team Flash to get an upper hand. Cypher drops, unfortunately, onto the Flash members, and now they are really in the weeds. They get the revive onto Dio, but Team Flash, they have the upper hand. Cypher, mini Uzi in hand, gets gunned down, and Team Flash off to a great start. In fact, I feel like they might want to continue hunting down Barros, and indeed they find Barros. The glue wall can drop down, but Team Flash knows that they have the upper hand. Barros turns around to try and retaliate, but sadly the mini Uzi just better in the CQC. Only only deal left alive, and Team Flash pocketing 3 points from the get-go. And this is it's quite an unfortunate start for AG. Dew only has enough points to revive one of his teammates, and Onyx Olympus, on the other hand, faces off against their Indonesian friends. Koja being the one that ends up going down, Onyx Olympus getting their first point. So overall, Onyx Olympus, let's see if they can push this forward though. There is a rebuff for BTRM. Good valiant dash, break that through wall. Zyro ends up getting dropped.
Gets dropped. Might be able to do a little bit more. No, it's going to be taken out himself. So that's going to be a consolation prize here for Onyx after having that little mini panic attack. Although, if you take a look at the map, we do have one of the players from Heavy looking to encroach into Onyx space. And actually, we also have Argon MY floating in as well. So we're seeing a bunch of teams here kind of floating around here, Husky, trying to play their hand.
Onyx still looking pretty healthy. I thought BTR would have gotten something extra from them, but having the cast does help. What a shot there from Zyro. Mufasa didn't stand a chance there, and they get a free car.
Free car, free snack, free point. We love grabbing those points this early into the game. We do have WAG on the screen here. The team is a little split, trying to go for this quick pick onto Koja. Now, they are revealing their position to Don't Cry from Heavy as well. So WAG, considering how fast this team played in round number 1, I wouldn't be surprised if they do detect Don't Cry as well, if they want to try and go for that elimination as well. Because, okay, I don't know if you agree, do you think WAG should continue this very, very fast play style that they actually tried to deploy in game 1?
I think it will still work. At least for Secret WAG, you can clearly see that they have slowed down a bit because they didn't get off to the momentous start that they did in game 1. It's incredibly situational, and in this case, they didn't meet the terms and conditions, right? I feel like the window closes by if 1 minute elapses without them getting a team wipe, which is pretty normal. I think Falcons also used to have that special effect. If they somehow get a team wipe at the beginning of the round, suddenly they just snowball out of control. Now WAG will have to slow it down, considering that they just revived one of their teammates.
Yeah, they're practically surrounded here by WAG. So, oh, all right. Well, we do have our first elimination, unfortunately. So that is going to be Heavy out of the picture for now. RRQ, though, still looking for this last player. If they can get their hands on it, that's going to be 6 eliminations. It's the Zom trying to get away, but will be clipped in the back. And that's going to be 6 points under RRQ's belt. So you can already tell RRQ looking to step it up. They placed 6th in that last round with 3 eliminations and 8 placement points. So I think RRQ, they are looking to get their foot back into this game after a, I guess, average start. Because let's be real, I think RRQ, after what happened last week, they are expecting to get a lot more points than they did in round 1. So wouldn't be surprised if RRQ decide to try and amp things up here a little bit. We do have a little skirmish there, though, and Dew going to lose that 1v1 up against Mink. So he's going to be taken out. His teammates, though, are away, and we might see Nameless in a very interesting predicament. Tries to go for the one-shot onto Abe, does drop him down to half, but has exposed himself to the entire RRQ roster. So this might just turn into another point here for RRQ. They're going to have to work for this hunt, okay? It's not going to be a free one, but Nameless doing a pretty good job with the Dukes.
Yeah. Pretty unlucky for AG. They are getting the Falcons treatment in game 2, where they essentially have no space to work with, and wherever they go, they're getting hunted down, and Nameless getting blasted in the back by that shotgun. So Pina finds a free point for himself, and AG continues to go on the run. It's Barros on one side, Saifa on the other, who might run into Aurora Gaming. We'll see if Aurora decides to head to where he is and check the compound. Even though, you know, on this map, it can be quite I would say, you know, a lot of compounds to work with, but to travel between the compounds does take some time, and a lot of times there's not much greenery, not much fauna, not much flora to cover yourself up. Then actually this part of the whole team of Aurora, I think that was used by RQ Kazu, and knowing RQ, they're going to be probably prepping for a team wipe.
They're definitely looking for that. 7 eliminations already under their belt. So essentially more than 1 elimination per minute. So RRQ looking to light up this lobby and rain down hell as they catch out Zeus right off the bat. Look at this, Abe and 18D are already running into the fray. Now, Aurora did manage to get the pickup, but the thing is, are they ready for this fight? Because RRQ are going to be coming in swinging with their entire roster. They will take over that compound for themselves. The Axel will be playing from the high ground. If they can get a one-tap on any of these RRQ players, that might be how Aurora can blast their way through this game. But Zeus gets dropped instead by Abe.
Oh, good stuff from Axel. Actually, the backup of his teammates is there, but unfortunately, Ezreal ran in too quickly and ended up going down. They tried to just sacrifice it with the grenade launcher. Dude!
Ooh, the grenade!
Oh, that could be worth it. And the Axel follows up. That is the tag team that we wanted to see from Aurora with these veterans, especially from Malaysia. We've known them for years, in fact, and this is one of the few rare moments that they might be able to close it out. And I think Ma'ao has been spotted out. Axel has a clear shot. The Riptide Rhythm not going to do anything. Axel with the finisher there. RRQ removed by Aurora.
Oh, what a terrible start for RRQ. They were the ones looking to grab the points themselves, and they ended up just going a little bit too deep into Aurora. And big props to Axel as well. He did the right thing. He saw Ma'al running away, so he launched himself to the vending machine. He said, you are not going to be able to bring your teammates back at all. And we did see Ma'al try to escape with a vehicle, but unfortunately it was pinned into the wall, so he had to bail. And yeah, RRQ, game number 2, just not a lot going in their favor. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens for this team going into round number 3. Now, Twisted Minds, they are having to deal with Buriram. This is a pretty major fight happening very early in this game. So, yeah, Twisted Minds are going to have to find a solution for this. Either have to fight into Buriram head on, or they need to find an escape path. But there are so many teams around. There's still Onyx nearby. So if they do try to go for that top right-hand corner, they don't really have a way to get out. They can try to go south, but they would be limiting their options if that next circle decides to go anywhere that isn't south.
Yeah. Even for AG, they somehow still manage to keep themselves in the game, and now will have to head out into the blue to really scavenge for resources. BTR holding Graph Labs 2. There's a Dinoculus used on the southeastern side. I would like to assume it's done by AG, but we'll check back in this situation in just a little bit. Argon, in fact, 8 eliminations under the belt, so they're doing pretty well. And considering that even last game, Argon MY showed some promises despite the opponents that they had to face up against. This time, it seems like they've definitely found their groove. Nameless taking out Limit means that Falcons will meet an early end.
That's going to be the second game in a row as well for Falcons to not place high. So Falcons fans not going to be feeling too happy about Falcons' performance for today. Again, this is just game number 2, so we still have 4 more to go. But yeah, Falcons, I mean, it could be better, unfortunately. Just, it seems like the lobby today is hyper competitive. I mean, we are looking at the top 12 teams to come out of Phase 1 groups. So it's not going to be easy for whoever is gunning for that top 2 spot. Going to be switching on over to Bigatron's point of view. They did come in from Grab Labs, and it is pretty open, thankfully. Farmtopia is not really occupied, so they will have a way to sort of decide how they want to approach the next phase of the game. They have a lot of places to move. It's pretty open. They can loot a little bit more. But I think once they reach that 3rd circle, I think we're going to be seeing Bigatron maybe starting to make their own moves. Because aside from those couple of skirmishes that they ran into, yeah, the team seem pretty passive. And actually, they're camping around that launch pad. So let's see where Bigatron decide to fly together as a team.
I think they're definitely reconsidering whether they want to take the launch pad or just take that zip line. I feel like they might have seen Twisted Minds. It's hard to tell. Twisted Minds is actually shoot at them, because they're taking a lot of damage from the blue, which is not good for BTR. Maybe the launch pad, not taking the launch pad might be the smarter idea because it doesn't expose them directly to Twisted Minds. Now at least they find some cover. They might be able to re-strategize and plan the next rotation, but one guarantee is that they will have to almost for certain deal with Twisted Minds.
Yeah, unless these two teams maybe somehow dodge each other, but there's no way that Twisted Minds didn't see them. Oh, they look at that though, Twisted Minds, they lost jump already, got knocked down onto the ground. So yeah, Twisted Minds, they might have that high ground. Doesn't mean they're going to be safe up there. Switching on over to the other side, we do have Flash occupying the northern side of our safe zone. So they are practically gatekeeping nobody. After having a look at the map, there is no teams coming in from the top. So essentially for Flash and Argon, both of these teams don't need to worry about the top top, they can just keep their eyes on teams that are towards the bottom and even the left-hand side of that safe zone. Although Argon might need to worry about AG because AG is coming in from the right-hand side. Bigatron are going to launch themselves deeper into that circle, though, I believe right next to Onyx. So, yeah, they're going to have to figure out what to do next because I think they are now effectively stuck there.
It's going to be quite difficult to get out of. WAG around the corner, knocking on the front door. BRU haven't nailed that one, unfortunately. It's going to hit an air ball. WAG making a very fast rotation, and in a lightning zone too. WAG would really hope that they could find some cover, but this is the best they got. Ice grenades are making life hard for Wang. Wasana out with the pump, and PLS1 actually decides to come in and help his teammates, but ends up drawing attention from BRU, who will now focus fire down on the right side of the wing. And good Reptile Rhythm to knock down the blue wall, and everyone from BRU just pivots towards where WAG is. They flood in and take all of them down surgically. So well executed by BRU. The Moshi just step on the trip mine and Get High will come back and bring him back up. BRU just like that are out of the woods.
But Bigatron's here, coming in from the back to disturb Twisted Minds, meaning that Buriram is able to get out of that scot-free, and actually Bigatron themselves decide to bail. That was such an interesting maneuver. Twisted Minds coming in to try and ambush Buriram, but then Bigatron come in and I mean, it seems like they all just came in, decided to sign a peace treaty and say, okay guys, no more fighting until we get into that next safe zone, which as you can see on the map right now, it is not on the left-hand side. It is more towards that right-hand center of that circle, which you can see right now is occupied very comfortably by Onyx and now AG, who was able to successfully launch themselves in.
Yeah, look, and I think for anyone who wants to see what perfect communication and execution is like, you just have to watch that BRU against WAG. Everything felt so choreographed, right? The way that BRU were moving as a squad to win that without suffering any casualties, despite the odds seemingly stacked against them, was quite a sight to behold. But now they will have to deal with Twisted Minds, who did make an attempt on their lives earlier on. BRU could also opt for the option to wait for the circle to close in with them and then attack Twisted Minds from their blind spot, which is exactly what they'll do right now. But the Riptide Rhythm will take down the blue wall, so BRU have to expend some extra resources. Jonah getting shot by Jump. He needs a bit of help, but the rest of BRU will have to stall out the assailants for a while. Wasana again in. How did he find Jump like that? He's in there all alone, and he's still outgunning Twisted Minds, and Twisted Minds are the ones that's falling back.
Oh no, but on the other end though, so Jonah got taken down by Bigatron, as well as Moshi getting knocked down. So for Buriram, it's really going to come down to this duo, but Get High is the next player to go down and leaves Wasana all on his own as the last surviving player here for Buriram. And look where that circle is. It is so deep. Twisted Minds though, because they were so busy with Buriram, that they're going to be hit on both sides, on the left, on the right, and Team Flash are trying to come in themselves, but they get absolutely annihilated by Aurora from the rooftop. Up to 8 eliminations in this game. They are farming the lobby, and there goes Buriram, the last remaining player, going to be eliminated as well.
One more nade, boy. Crime! Didn't have to do that. That looked like some free points, but at least now Aurora knows that there's a separate team. But even better, it also alerts Twisted Minds to the presence of Onyx. Maybe Aurora can just let Twisted Minds deal with it. Trying to sneak away a couple of points again. Another nade landing on at least 3 of the members of Twisted Minds to chip away their health bars. The second one now comes through, and that one seemingly does nothing for now. Good news is Aurora have the high ground. Bad news is they probably need to move in a bit.
Yeah, it looks like they will have to move, but they did get a monster truck in, so I mean, if you want to go down, you got to go down in style, Husky. But for now, Aurora are going to try and capitalize on this high ground as much as they can before they need to leave themselves. Thankfully for Twisted Minds, they will be able to play around with that low ground cover. So this means that Aurora won't have a free time taking them out. But look at this though, the Axel looking to focus on Onyx instead, because unfortunately for Onyx, they're out in the open. They're relying on all the natural trees for cover. In the meantime though, on the low ground, Bigatron running into a fight here with Argon, and both teams, so many players on the ground. Fire's going to try and go for the pick onto Noki, but unfortunately, I think that might just be it for Argon. The team gets wiped together in the compound.
Pretty unfortunate for Argon MY. It's really a tough situation to be in and fight in such a spot. Twisted Minds also out, and Aurora able to relocate themselves to the low ground. Azrael with a good shot against Barrows, but Ideally, you want to get the elimination, but it's not easy to confirm that with all that blue wall
Aurora
set up by AG. Onyx also joining the kill feed in just a little bit. AG will be the one pushing forward towards Aurora, but these erasement of blue walls actually will benefit Aurora a lot more, because AG will have to work harder to cover the ground.
Yeah, and they got pushed out of their compound as well, so AG have to rely purely on those glue walls for any kind of cover, but they're being eliminated so quickly. Aurora pushing forward as a team. As you can see on the map, Bigatron is actually luring Onyx into this fight as well, and AG are about to be pinned between two teams. Either Aurora or Onyx, they're going to have to deal with one of them whether they like it or not. And you can see Aurora still advancing onto AG. Can AG find a way through? If they can get a 1-tap, a 2-tap on these Aurora players, maybe they can make it through, but to a Nameless, not even given a chance. Oh no, there they go. Both players down, all three down, leaving us to our last two teams, Husky. It's Onyx versus Aurora.
Oh, this is a matchup that I haven't seen in ages. Aurora has been doing fantastic so well so far. The crossfire earlier on with assistance from Onyx did help them eliminate BTR. Let's see if they can keep that going. Aurora early on their low ground, so they will need to work slightly harder to get towards Onyx, who is gaining distance. The Riptide Rhythm is going to expose Axel, who is trying to hold the flank, but thankfully the blue wall that was placed before allows him to get cover and also enables the rest of Aurora to start moving forward ever so slightly. They need to flush out Onyx to give Axel a good angle to work with. Adam in deep. Aurora setting up the glue walls to try and isolate the fight, but they were able to disengage even with not taking down any members of Onyx. So this is pretty well played. Zeus around the corner, fight two of them! And Onyx not able to respond in time. Axel finally pops Crime and Adam is left all alone. Aurora Gaming are gonna do it here on game number 2. Adam in a 1v4, nothing much that he can do. Aurora Gaming will just storm right to Zeus right in front of the blue wall. They just need to break through the defense. And what a showing it is from the Malaysian squad. They will get their first booyah of the night.
First booyah of the night, farming those eliminations. This game felt like an Aurora game. They had an amazing position in that 4th and 5th circle on the rooftop. They were farming players and teams with that high ground positional advantage. There wasn't really anyone that was able to shoot them from that rooftop either, so they were really free to do whatever they want in that late game, which you can tell, I feel like this really bumped up the team's morale because we saw them pushing into teams that I think under normal circumstances we normally wouldn't see Aurora be the aggressors. You would have thought that this team would be, you know, the hunted team rather than the hunters for themselves. So congratulations to Aurora for a fantastic round number 2. They pick up a load of points. I don't know if you caught how many eliminations they had at the end there, Husky. Did they hit double digits? I'm pretty sure they did.
I think they did, right? Because we last saw them, they had like what, 7-8 eliminations, but very well done by Aurora Gaming, especially the setup towards the very end. I think, you know, credits where credits due. Their opponents also did their best. Like Onyx tried to dismantle the backline, right? Like, you can see the way that they were playing. They not only were disengaging from Aurora's front line, but they were also trying to actively sniff out the Axel. But unfortunately, there are just enough blue walls for Axel to stay covered and allow his team to continuously press forward, and they just won on the gunfight. Zeus with the great swing around the corner to get 2, and that was basically all she wrote. Onyx just didn't have enough people to respond.
Yeah, it really came down to that double knock. You know, I think if it was maybe one player, it could have been salvageable, but once you lose 2 players like that in a CQC 2-team battle, it's in a lot of cases it's curtains. So for Aurora, congratulations for grabbing that booyah. Bunch of points for this team. I don't know if I still have a scoreboard open. I don't believe so. Have you got the scoreboard open, Husky? Otherwise we're gonna have to wait for the point calculations, because I think we're going to be seeing a huge jump for Aurora on the scoreboard. Let
me see. Aurora, game 2. Yep, I do. So I think they have like 15 eliminations. 15 eliminations. That should be 27 points.
27. Do you have the scoreline for game 1 for Aurora?
Game 1 for Aurora, I might have actually. Let me go through that. I need some time. Game 1. Can't find it for now. We'll have to find it later.
But I'm pretty I think just based off of the numbers alone, I think Aurora is easily top 3. I think after that round, easily top 3. big score, big points. Because we've only had 2 games so far, and aside from that, game number 1, the points weren't very top heavy. So there's like no teams like dominating the top of the leaderboard. I think it's very, very reachable, I think, for all of our competitors for today. But again, it's just game number 2. We've still got 4 more games to go. So we really don't know what trajectory today's matches is really going in because, okay, Husky, thoughts on the teams playing today? Okay, are the teams that you think are performing?
Some are not. I think I did say like Heavy, right? Heavy isn't, which is unfortunate. BRU still a lot a bit to be desired because they finished in the middle. I think Falcons so far is the one that really has been not doing well in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, Falcons. It doesn't feel like the Falcons that we used to see. Although, again, it could be maybe just I would like to think for the Team Falcon fans, it's just a 2-game thing. Maybe they're a little bit slow to wake up. Maybe game 3 onwards is where Falcons are able to sort of, be able to really play. But yeah, just not a great start for Team Falcons. Congratulations to the Axel, considering that he was under so much pressure. He's that much MVP for today, and he earned it, especially with the number of shots that he had been able to land in a lot of those fights that Aurora's really had to take head on. Like, I have to say, this is probably the most active we have seen Aurora as a team. I think up until this point, they have been pretty average. Like they have days where they're pretty decent, but not like this. This is Aurora overperforming, which is great. I'm not complaining, okay? This is great. I think Aurora fans would love to see more, but can they keep playing like this for the rest of the day?
That's going to be the big question right now that they have to answer, because this Game 2 from Aurora brings me back to the prime days of Malaysian Free Fire, where they really were able to put up a fight against the strongest team. Not that I'm complaining, it's good to see that the veterans are still playing, even though some of them have joined different teams, and still able to put up a performance of this caliber. Right? They have both the Nero and A124, so this is slightly different from what we're used to seeing. Usually you either have one or the other, but for Aurora, if this is what works for them, then I'm okay with it, right? Because it gives you a lot more zone control in these CQCs.
Look at the damage from the Axel, 4,302. So this man put in a lot of work in that previous match for the team. So very, very, very worthy of the MVP title here for Aurora. So can Aurora continue with this run of this? Or is this going to be a one-hit wonder? I hope it's not a one-hit wonder, because the Malaysians have really impressed me this tournament. I think it's... Okay, it goes without saying, I think Malaysia has struggled, I want to say, for the past couple seasons. They've struggled to sort of get their foothold in the competitive scene. The other regions seem to kind of run away. But Husky, can we maybe be seeing the era where Malaysia is possibly a top region with these 2 teams alone?
I hope so. I really want to see Malaysia back on the international stage, like especially this one, right? That the fight is for EWC, and I said this last week. It's honestly not that hard if you think about it. You just need to be the top 8 teams out of the 12 teams in the grand final. So obviously you need to advance to the grand finals first, and then we can talk about being top 8. But if EVOS is in the top 8, then we technically have 9 teams, which is a lot of opportunities. Last year we missed out because we finished in 11th, if I remember correctly. So I really hope that Aurora can make it this time.
Yeah, look at the standings though. We've got some crazy points between 3 teams so far. So Bigatron, Flash, and Aurora are occupying our top 3. All 3 with over 30 points. The closest team to that is Boram in 26, followed by AG as well in 5th place. So right now, our top 3 is currently led in the 30-point scoreline. But look at this though, in 2nd and 3rd place, Flash and Aurora are technically tied on points, but Flash beats out Aurora, I believe, based on elimination points, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it placement points first? I forgot which one, if it's placement points or if it's elimination points for the second tiebreaker. Because normally it's Booyah first. Yeah. So it's eliminations, okay.
Eliminations, and then afterwards, the third condition would be your placements in the most recent match.
Most recent match. So
this-
Flash is slightly over Aurora, but Aurora's so close for second place.
They are. I think
crazy.
It's like what they just need like one more point. So honestly, it's not too far away. There's plenty of room for them to make up for it. I think right now for the side of Aurora, if they can keep this up, then it'll be great. I think they will have a very good chance of making it to the top 2 today. And if that does happen, it will be quite a story to tell.
Yeah. Now, there is another story currently being told on that leaderboard as well. I know it's not on the screen anymore, but we can kind of speak about it. Towards the bottom, okay, there are definitely a couple teams here that I think a lot of us would not expect to be so far down. So in 10th place, we have Twisted Minds with 15 points. So unfortunately, today, just really not the day for Twisted Minds. And then in 12th place, this one's probably the biggest shocker, I think, for the day. Falcons in 12th place with 5 points for their first 2 games. Really out of the ordinary for this team.
It really is. Like, I'm so not used to seeing Falcons start off. I would say start off in the bottom position, but nothing that Falcons cannot solve. There's still 4 more games to come, and with that being said, we're gonna head into the third map of the evening to see if some of the teams at the bottom can bounce back.
We're going to be going into Solara for map number 3. So maybe this map is what some of our bottom performing teams need to grab those points. Or it might be a case of vice versa. Maybe our top teams end up farming Solara instead. We'll have to find out because, you know, game number 3, this tournament heating up. Our first phase through day is heating up. We're starting to already see a story being told, but because it's only match number 3, we can see a different trajectory if the right teams perform in these next 4 games. Now, having a look at where everyone is currently dropping, we're not seeing any hard hot drops yet. We're seeing a couple of teams overlap, but aside from that, it looks like from this very neutral flight path, it's going to be a very clean opening for all 12 teams.
Except for a bit of a hot drop here between Argon MY and AG Global. Let's see if Argon MY can snuff out AG Global. If they do, it would be an incredibly big morale boost for the Malaysian teams, and taking out AG Global of all teams as well is going to be quite the achievement. Saifa getting found by Alif and Traps. He saw Nameless, right? Yep, does. With the mini Uzi trying to spray him down right now, Nameless has to relocate. Alif does get knocked down by Barrows, and now Nameless will kind of double up against Noki. Noki needs help right now, calls in Traps, but can he make it there in time? They get the pick up onto Alif and turn it into a 3v2. Nameless now on the retreat. Barrows on off angle, but it's a bit too late. Barrows against Trap. Trap goes down, but Noki should be able to respond. Barrows does get the knockout punch though, and Saifa now rejoins the fight.
Saifa's going to rejoin, but he's going to be going in alone. Oh, but if he wins both, that's going to be huge. He gets both eliminations. So AG, when things started to look terrible, they're able to get those points back. So AG, they are still in this game. We do have WAG, though, fighting into Bigatron, and the team is currently split. We still have PLS1 and None, but they're going to have to leave Tikui, unfortunately. We'll have to see if they're able to go get the revive. None going to be taking the slide rail around to try and buy their team back. So yeah, WAG, they still have a way back into this game, but they need to be very cautious because this is Bigatron we're talking about. This is our leaderboard leader in terms of points.
Yeah, and that was just unlucky for Argon and Y. I honestly thought that they would have a chance to, even if they don't wipe out AG, they would have been able to get a couple of points there. But again, the combat prowess just a lot better from the side of AG.
Yeah, it's a lot better for AG right now. PLS1 though, still trying to keep an eye out on Bigatron. It seems going to see where they're going. Launchpads gets used and they're going to find out where Bigatron is going to be flying towards. Right overhead. Did they spot PLS1? He threw a clear wall down. So if anyone turns around, they might be able to catch sight of him. It looks like they're going to leave him. In the meantime though, we do have a small skirmish. It's a 2v2 between Onyx and Aurora.
Yep, and Aurora actually getting up to an even trade here. Oh, Zue is making it so close. Putra does put up the glue wall and now will go for the finisher. That came pretty close, but I think Aurora
it's not close.
1 man left alive. Axel, get him!
Oh!
And Aurora again beats Onyx.
They beat Onyx again. That's going to be more points for Aurora as well. And we do have Bigatron fighting into Argon here. And it looks like they're just waiting for those two players to go down. Deeks, though, going to be going in for the CQC. You can see Bigatron trying to save their teammates, but Traps gets caught. Oh no, this is not good for the Malaysians. Argon MY are going to be giving away some points to Bigatron. 5 points now on the scoreboard here for Bigatron. So the Indonesians leading the charge, looking to continue their lead by securing more eliminations to their name. We're going to switch on over to RRQ here. The team is moving pretty separate, although they do have their front runners there to lead the charge. They have their snipers in the back ready to go. But are they ready to fight into AG Global? Because this will be a very tough opponent.
Yeah. And RQ and AG, this UAV is going to be hovering just overhead. I think RQ should have a bit of that advantage with the bunker to work with, and AG, I think they'll take their time moving up forward. We'll check back that in a bit. The Vietnamese out against each other as well. Heavy against Secret WAG, with Secret WAG holding the high ground. Trying to get rid of that UAV first. Heavy, though, a bit more clumped together, but not able to cover as much ground as Nameless gets knocked down by Dudes.
That's pretty big. RRQ getting a point to their name. It looks like RRQ is online. Barros will be able to get away with the slide rails, thankfully. But they still have Cypher to deal with. And Arbai, they're going to go for a quick tag team. Just quickly go in for that quick elimination onto Cypher if they can. Has tried to cover himself up in glue walls, but will be taken out. That's going to be the second point there for RRQ. But look at AG. They have a backup plan. They do go straight for the buyback. So 2 players get immediately picked up.
RQ to slow it down just by a bit, as the team is quite spread out. So far, we only lost Onyx. Just earlier on, where they lost against Aurora Gaming. Hit list being put out onto C-Tuan. Dinoctis from RQ just to scout out a hit on Solara. Just make that rotation a bit easier. Even for Aurora, they have sort of recovered. The resources not looking too shabby as well. 4 glue wall, medkits on Zeus. I could assume the same for the rest of the team, and they are also willing to slow down. A team, there's someone right opposite them, but Aurora, not really in a rush.
No, I think after what happened in the early game, they just want to recover, just make sure that they have a pretty good time going into the next phase. Now, the thing is, I did spot out Flash in the distance. So they will need to be a little cautious if they decide to leave that compound. We'll check on them a bit later on as we switch on over to WAG. WAG's been a pretty interesting case here because they have really slowed down. But speaking of slowing down, it's not Team Flash. Okay, Team Flash are just going to throw the vehicle in the air. Ay, 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 Husky. Not looking too great here for Flash.
The only person who probably could make that work is like Vin Diesel from Fast and Furious, but they get a full revive. So the Zom able to salvage his team from a very awkward situation and even actually blow out Cypher and take him out. So the Zom has already went above and beyond to get his team back into the game and get a point for himself.
Yeah, not the best start, but I guess if you run into AG, you know, sometimes things kind of go bad. But at least they got the reset, I suppose, so we still have a second chance. Now, speaking of chances, Twisted Minds is looking for their next chance in this game because they're not looking too great on that leaderboard. Currently in that 3rd last position, in 10th place, if I recall correctly. So they really need anything at this point for Twisted Minds. They need eliminations. They would love to get some placement points. It's just, how are they going to do it? Because I don't know about you, Husky, but this team, after those first 2 games, it feels like they've really just slowed down.
Yep. This is one of the slower rounds so far this evening. I mean, for example, WAG is so far out. Team Flash extremely spread out. Aurora Gaming might be able to gatekeep AG, but judging by the circle, Aurora themselves might have to move. If they do, they might be pinned up between multiple teams. It's not really looking the best right now for the Malaysian squad, regardless of where they go. They could go south, take out AG, and then make a rotation, but that would slow them down. Or they could make a rotation now and try to win those gunfights.
They could. Buriram looking for their next target if they can find anything. Just going to go for a quick loot session. Just get themselves ready for that late game. They're loaded. Jonah's loaded. I feel terrified for whoever's going to be running into Jonah in this next up-and-coming fight. Back to WAG. Still playing pretty slow. No points on the board yet for the team. Really just trying to get placements. But with 11 teams still in the lobby, it's going to be quite difficult to get those placement points unless something happens. Like, you either have to hope that someone starts going on a killing spree, or you're going to have to take your fate into your own hands and start looking for those points yourselves. They're going to run into Argon MY, but the thing is, Argon have been looking pretty good today, so this is not a free kill.
You have to work for this one. Argon MY, despite both previous games not really having the best finishes, they do put up a good fight. And I think they've gotten intel of where WAG is at. I think if you compare the two Malaysian teams in this lobby, the one thing that separates both Aurora and Argon is how Aurora manages these kind of rotations. Argon, still a bit to be desired, but they sure as hell will put out resistance if needed. And WAG are being very cautious in how they want to take this fight.
Yeah, they're really taking it slow. Fies, though, looks like he has been caught out by Nana and Tikoi as they both rush in to try and take out Fies. Now, unfortunately for Fies, he had been completely split off from his team, which quite surprised that he decided to go for the split. I guess he just couldn't meet up with the team. So that's going to leave them with 3 players. And actually, you can see themselves launching themselves away. They want to get away from WAG as quick as possible. So yeah, Argon MY looking to play the safer game, and sadly for WAG, because they're not pursuing, they're not going to be able to grab any more elimination points. So back to looting, I suppose. No, more looting, less shooting.
Yeah, Argon actually got very lucky because PLS1 didn't see one of the players launching himself away on the corner of his screen. He probably didn't pay enough attention because he was sort of at a blind spot. Because I think if he spotted that rotation, they would have decided to go after the rest of Argon and Y. So, blessing in disguise for the Malaysians. And for Secret WAG, they get to basically slow the game down again and gather some resources. Contrary to the previous 2 games, WAG extremely slow now and switching to a more tactical approach, which I think suits the composition, the team comp that they have a lot more.
Things are really slowed down, Husky. We're still at 11 teams, 10 minutes into this game, so we still have a lot more bodies to farm. We still have big team fights to run into. That third circle has been decided, and we'll see if Falcons are able to get something from this particular round. This is currently our last place team in today's games, currently sitting on only 5 points across 2 matches. So Falcons really looking to get anything if possible. Now the thing is, they are in a pretty good spot if they're able to somehow find some kind of momentum to grab a lot of points. The thing is, though, they need to find it somehow before some of these other teams that have been going all in with the kill points takes it away from them. Now the thing is, because Falcons expose themselves to trying to shoot down at the heavy, that I believe Twisted Minds snipped them out as well. So I hope they have their backs covered, because I do suspect Falcons will be running into a bit of a skirmish sometime soon. WAG, though, in the meantime, are going to be flushed out by Aurora, and they are having to go back into that blue zone. They do have a vehicle at least to be able to relocate, but they're going to have to blow through a couple of those health kits and also find another way into the safe zone, which it looks like they might have found a way through. Yeah, an unguarded corner here in that third circle.
Went into Bloomtown. They will be safe for a while, but can't say the same for Flash. We just got while getting ran to by AG. RQ, on the other hand, also doing the same thing. In fact, Flash just ran into a death zone, unfortunately pinned up by 2 powerhouses. So no luck in game 3, eliminated in even 11th place, but might end up bringing 2 teams to face up against each other very soon as BRU exterminates WAG off screen. Twisted Minds against Falcons, about to happen soon.
These are both of our bottom performing teams as well, so this is really not a situation these 2 teams want to encounter at all, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Somebody's got to go down, and it's going to be a question of, is it going to be Twisted Minds or is it going to be Falcons? Now, we do see on the other end, we have Argon MY floating in as well. They're probably going to catch wind of this too, so wouldn't be surprised if they maybe decide to stick their nose into this business too, which leaves Falcons sandwiched between 2 teams, Husky.
And RQ, on the other hand,
Bigatron!
Insane stuff! AG and RQ working together hand in hand. Now, VTR still has someone left up. Seabang is basically prone. The UAV being sent in, and now RQ being distracted by Barros from AG.
Oh, Twisted
Falcons
Minds.
out again in 9th spot. Whew. Yeah, BTR really made it out of this though. In fact, he does. He's out of there.
Out of there somehow. Crazy business, but for how long we'll find out. Looks like Twisted Minds though did get backstabbed, and that's going to be it for them as Argon MY came in, sweep them all up, and are now sitting at 8 eliminations. So the Malaysians are farming the lobby today, especially on Solara. Switching it over to Buran's point of view, fighting into Heavy. It looks like both teams kind of juking and jiving around this compound, but Heavy playing on the outside at the moment. That blue zone is slowly creeping in, and at this point, someone's got to move. They've got to make the call. Do they decide to go into the compound, or can they just play around that corner? Blue wall melter's going to be used. Kutuan did try to go for the jump, but unfortunately the block from that glue wall from Buram is going to buy them time, and this leaves Heavy out in the open. They're being forced into the circle, but they don't have anything aside from glue walls to protect them.
They're trying to create a zone that VRU will have to pass through if they want to engage in direct combat. The glue wall melters is going to make it slightly harder, but those reinforced glue walls will take longer to go down. VRU now dumping all of their utilities out in the open, but in front of them it's going to be Aurora Gaming again, finding themselves in a good position. BTR has something to say about that. Aurora has been getting away with a lot of these encounters just with better strategic rotation, but RRQ right in the thick of it to try and deal with Aurora themselves.
There's only 2 of them though. It's just Duts and Abe. The rest of the team is done and dusted, Husky. They've been bringing in the monster trucks as well. So, I mean, if Duts and Abe can do it, that would be a miracle in itself. On the other side though, we have Argon MY being hit by 2 teams. Unfortunate for them as they get eliminated from the round, leaving us with our top 5 teams here, Husky. 15 players still alive. Looks like Buram looking to push into Aurora here using blue wall melters, everything that they can use. Hiding behind the hedge for now. They do have a little bit of cover, but Aurora, they're able to take down some of the Buram players, but Get High tried to go in. Unsuccessful. Wasana in the blue zone, but gets gunned down from the other side. Heavy helping out Aurora.
And you were asking if the teams have met my expectations, and I said Heavy. I want to see more from Heavy.
They're doing it.
Yeah, definitely doing it. 10 eliminations already. Fasa getting the latest one. Moshi actually steals that one away and even finds Zuez in the process. Every time it might be the end of Aurora Gaming if they don't get rid of Moshi. And Heavy is the biggest winner right now with that high ground. But it might change in a bit. They are forced to rotate with the circle moving far away.
We do have a bit of an awkward endgame here. We do have very, very fractured teams. It's only really Heavy that's still sitting with a full roster. So it's going to be 1 from AG, 2 for RRQ going up against a full Heavy lineup. Now, does AG and RRQ team up to take out Heavy, or are they going to tag team against each other? It looks like Poor Du is going to be jumped on by Dutz and Alan. Alan, though, does hit the ground, unfortunately. Mufasa is there to pick him up. We still see Du, I guess he got taken out on the sideline. So, Bandits, if you can pull out a miracle here somehow, and 2 versus 4, that would be huge. But can they even do it, Husky?
It's going to be a tall order. Unless Abai can somehow isolate these fights. He needs to be able to win 1v1s, but Heavy is never going to give him those 1v1s.
No,
Fasa finds the
not
finisher.
even a knock.
And Dut, he knows his time is about to come. And there it is, Heavy finding their booyah.
I think if I saw the numbers correctly, they may have ended with about 11-12 eliminations to the name. So really heavy kill score there for Heavy. They're going to pick up a lot of elimination points. They get the booyah points as well. So at minimum, we're looking at about, I want to say 23, 24 points. And coming into this round as well, Heavy was in 9th place with 15 points. So this is going to be a huge placement boost for Heavy. Will it get them into top 3? Probably not, but definitely at least closing that gap and putting them somewhere within that 4th to 5th placement range.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for Heavy, if this is a good way to kickstart the engine, and it might be enough to bring them to top 2 at the end of this, right? And I would say there are teams that are still pretty consistent. You know, RRQ is not doing too poorly. We've seen teams like I think even for BTR, Aurora Gaming, they've had some good games so far. Even though they didn't end with a booyah, but they were able to get pretty far before they got knocked out with decent number of eliminations. So today so far has been defying expectations. The Powerhouses team that we thought are going to be in top 3 are nowhere in top 3.
For now. Okay, we
For
still
now.
got 3 more games.
Yep.
Okay, so anything goes. We've seen teams just decide, like, okay, for the last 2 games, we're just going to go all out. And, you know, sometimes it does kind of work into their favor. But I do believe we are looking at a bit of a point creep, especially with our top performing teams today compared to our underperformers. So, you know, we'll have to see if that point gap is going to be big enough, because I think we all want to see the bigger picture, right? We want to see how big is the point gap between our top teams and our lower end teams, and what is still technically a attainable goal, right? Like, how many points would you want to be aiming for the last 3 games to, in a way, say, guarantee you in top 2? Because that's, again, that is the goal for today's matches. You want to get top 2 because you want to be pulled out and put into the lineup for grand finals.
Yep.
So if you can do that as quick as possible, great, because then you just be watching the rest of the games up until that grand final weekend. But at the moment though, Husky, could we confidently say we don't really have a leader that is running away with any of these slots? I feel like it is still very much in the open for anybody.
I agree. I think, you know, with the diverse cast of teams who have gotten the booyah and, you know, fluctuating from 1st to 6th place, it's still anyone's game. I think it's still anyone's game. I would be happy if some of the weaker teams, you know, make it to finals, because it does seem that way, right? Like the heavy hitters so far has been not really finding much cigar in their first half of today, but if they just hit a good game in the next 3 games, they can still recover from that. And that's the beauty of Free Fire. Eliminations, you get enough of them, they're going to bring you back from the dead. So I wouldn't count it out just yet, but things are really looking good for some of our teams who have been struggling in Phase 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I think elimination points is, as you said, it is the go-to right now. You get those elimination points, it is going to push you so high up on that leaderboard. But we will wait for our admins to do the calculations, because I do think we want to know, like, what's the goal here for some of these teams? Like, who is in a position where they want to just simply maintain? Who's in a position where they're playing catch-up? There are namely a few teams that are in catch-up mode. Most notably Falcons, because I am 100% certain after that round they are still in 12th place. They didn't really get many placement points. I don't believe they got many eliminations either. And they started that round with 5 points.
Yeah.
So 3 games in, maybe barely breaking into double digits. Yeah, Falcons, I don't even know if top 2 is even possible for this team anymore, even if they have like 3 monster rounds back to back.
There's a good chance that today is not the day for Falcons, but certainly it looks like it might become the day of Heavy, who hit and who basically got quite a good round, right? The MVP being Sichuan with 6 eliminations, and that's pretty much it. Not the most elimination counts, but still able to rake in that win, which is an extra 12 points for the for placement wise. A buy from RQ and a lift from Argon and Y. They each have 5 elims. Sci-Fi and Barros basically completes the list with 4 and 3 respectively. And I would say, you know, if the teams are really racing to kind of get as much points as possible, it actually gets harder and harder the later the round goes. Especially like recently I also joined a competition, and when time becomes a factor and you're short on time, the nerves is going to be the biggest determining factor whether you make it or not. And you know, I think most of our teams have enough experience to brush that off. But I have to quickly say that not many people use Zane now in Battle Royale. Alan is one of the few, because a lot of times you want a bit of extra utility. Zane basically reinforces your front line, and you pair it up with Oscar and Chrono. It's somewhat like it's like a Clash Squad comp. Heavy hitting front line, great survivability, and a touch of support with the Skylar.
Yeah, and I guess it also reinforced that late game for Heavy, right? Because when you're moving, when you have so little space, that's really where Heavy wants to be fighting it. They want to be fighting together as a unit, CQC, capitalize on all of their actives to synergize with one another. So yeah, this is just a team that maximizes their assets as a team, which is what you want to be seeing, especially for your teams that are grabbing those booyahs and points. But here we go, our standings for match number 3. So Heavy is going to be ending the day with 13 eliminations and 12 points, meaning that they just picked up 25 points from that round. So you add that to their 15 from their overall scoreboard before this match even happened, and all of a sudden this team, they've gone to 40 points if my math is mathing, which is huge. That's a big jump for Heavy.
Incredibly big, and that's sort of also what helped them in the standings as well towards the end of phase 1. They don't do too much of a difference because as long as you're in top 12, you're going to be playing today anyways, but still a good sign for this team that it's feels like it's on the up and coming, at least for the spring season. We know that they have some veterans in the squad as well, but I do want to see, you know, the overall standing and just to get a good idea on who's leading the pack and how close is the fight to get into top 2. Because I think overall, you make it to top 2, Aurora is one of them, followed by BTR.
Aurora, of
and
all the teams, is leading. Aurora.
We just say they have been consistent in the first 3 games, and that Booyah on game 2 helped them out big time. I would say, I mean, game 3 is probably their worst game, arguably, but even then, they were able to break up enough points and a good balance between eliminations and placement as well. Obviously, the race is not over yet by a long shot. Plenty of teams can still catch up within 1 round, and that I think extends all the way to Oregon MY.
I was going to say, yeah, the cutoff looks like 8th place. So Argon MY can still maybe slip into 2nd place or 1st place. But you got to have some really great rounds for your last 3 games, right? You got to pick up those points, you got to grab those eliminations. And if they can, they would ideally want to grab a Booyah in case we do run into a potential tiebreaker, because we're seeing a few tiebreakers today. So we might have to see that tiebreaker rule kick in for some of these teams. But for Onyx, for Twisted Minds, WAG, and especially for Falcons, it just seems like top 2 might be unattainable, and they're just going to have to think about what to do going into tomorrow's games. Maybe for the rest of today, you know, if the team really feels it's hopeless, spend the rest of the today studying the field. Study the field, figure out where everyone is dropping, and I think if you want to try an experiment, I would say try and experiment with a hot drop. You know, experiment with a hot drop against a team that you think you might be able to beat, and if you can, nail down that practice, okay? Because like top 2 is the goal for today. If you can't get it, you need to be very mindful of the remaining time you have for today's game. So yeah, we still have 3 more games to go. Kalahari is up next, but from 8 onwards, the competition is still very much on. The race is still on. It's now going to come down to consistency. Who will consistently not only pick up those points, but maintain their performance for the rest of the day?
And I think, you know, some of these teams, even if they aren't going to make it today, you have to remember the competitors are still watching the game. They might not be playing today, but there's time to study, to get ready for their own matches. And we did say that tomorrow we'll add 2 teams in, and it will be GOW and Shadow Esports, and that will be the same for Sunday as well, before the final 2 teams come in for towards the end of phase 2. So there's definitely layers to this, and pros and cons depending on how you look at it. I personally like it when I'm already in the top 12 to get the most play days possible, but there are certain teams who are just better at breaking down their opponents, and it could be one of the 6 teams who are waiting for their turn to play.
Yeah. Now it looks like we are ready for an interview with Aurora. So before we head on over to our quick break, let's see what Aurora have to say after doing fantastic today. 48 points, 1st place. They're probably feeling like they are at the top of the world.
Yep.
So,
with that being said, we're going to send it over to the studio and have our Malaysian colleagues talk to Aurora Gaming about that win just now. Fellas, take it away.
Hello guys, welcome to Malaysia. And right now we can see what a good gameplay by Team Aurora before. And right now with me right here, of course, Excel. Alright, jadi tahniah untuk Excel.
Okay, terima kasih.
Cantik sekali corak permainan tadi kan. Jadi kita nak tanya sedikit lah untuk Excel. Apa perasaan lah setelah dapatkan 2 booyah dan dapatkan booyah di game yang kedua tadi, dan berjaya dapatkan tempat yang pertama setelah keseluruhan?
Kalau perasaan saya sangat happy dan saya rasa macam masih kurang sebab kita orang masih ada 3 game and insyaAllah kita orang dapat konsisten dan mendapatkan tiket untuk pergi ke Vietnam.
Itu betul-betul target betul alright, so for Excel, he's saying that they already doing their good, but they still didn't satisfied with the result. They're gonna do more until they get the ticket to Vietnam. Alright, for our second question, as for now, Aurora has been more solid if we compare to Vamos before. So what's changed actually? Jadi sebelum ni kita dah tengok kan, untuk pasukan Aurora sebelum ni bermain dengan baik juga di Vamos, tapi dengan membawa nama Aurora sekarang ni lagi baik. Jadi apa perubahan yang dilakukan sebenarnya?
Perubahan yang dilakukan tak ada apa sebenarnya, tapi cuma sebab bawa nama Aurora dia nampak macam besar, dia macam lebih yakin untuk menghadapi semua tim.
So they are really confident actually using their new name. So Aurora has been a very big name for the community. We know Aurora is a very big name in the esports community as well. So they are doing very good because they want to show something for the names. Alright. So our third game. So far the momentum has been tremendous for both team actually. So especially Aurora. So we want to know what will Aurora do to consistent this momentum. Jadi untuk kedua-dua pasukan sekarang Malaysia boleh dikatakan sangat-sangat baik. Jadi kemungkinan apa strategi-strategi untuk kekalkan momentum yang sama ni?
Kalau bab strategi, kita orang akan lebih lebih baiki dan cuba untuk dapatkan buyah, and insyaAllah dapatkan kill yang banyak. Kalau tak dapat buyah, kill banyak, kill boleh boleh samakan
level lah. Okay, so what they are saying is they are gonna try to get as much buyah as possible, but if they cannot get the buyah, they will try to get as many kills as possible. Alright, so there you go everyone, Aurora. Alright, one of the Malaysian team that is playing in our phase 2, and they are currently at number 1. So for now, let's take a break and come back for more free fire action. So let's unleash the fire.
それスノボじゃなくて人体だから。それにこれってケツでブレーキかけるやつだし、吉原大炎上の次は異世界大炎上なんてそれになりませんから。
バカ、これくらい犠牲を払ってこそコラボに対しての俺たちの気合が伝わるってもんだろ。
金ちゃんの言う通りある。コラボのためなら尻の一つや二つ差し足して当然ね。
ゲームは終わりだ。
皆さん、それって銃？
逃げるぞカグラ。開発チームから聞かされてねえよ。
しつこい男は嫌いやろ。
アームストロング最高です。アームストロング、なんでこんなとこにまで。
話でやってくんねえかサダール。そいつは新橋じゃねえんだ。
僕なら噛まれてもいいってことですか。ケイリーさん、本当にごめんなさい。
さて、行き先は
ピー
って、もしかして僕またメガネだけになってない？
No other region represented. With 4 Thai teams, Team Falcons, AG Global, Buriram United Esports, and Twisted Minds taking control.
มีความในใจอยากจะบอกบุรีรัมย์ครับอยากยิงหัวโจนาจัดเลยรอบนี้
However, it's not only the top contenders. Avita, a newcomer with the makings of a dark horse. They didn't come here just to survive, but to prove themselves among the elite.
เพราะว่าเพิ่งได้ขึ้นมาเนี่ยครับแต่ก็อย่าประมาทผมครับผมเอาจริงครับ
And when Thailand turn it on, anyone in their path can become the next to be wiped out of the top 12.
คิดว่าทีมที่จะตกรอบน่าจะเป็นทีมออร่าครับเพราะแบบเป็นน้องใหม่ยังไม่รู้ฝีมือ
ขอให้เป็น RQ แล้วนะครับขอให้เขาแบบว่าไปก่อนเลยจะได้เล่นง่ายๆ
Indonesia had a forgettable week, with giants like RRQ and EVOS looking unusually quiet.
Karena kurang adaptasi aja sih, sama ya kurang berpengalaman dari player-player lainnya.
Ya kurang introspeksi diri sendiri aja lagi.
Is it a slow start, or are they waiting for the right moment to break through?
Kalau top 1 nanti kebaca gameplaynya.
On the road to the top 12, Vietnam remains a difficult opponent, consistently applying pressure on the Indonesian representatives.
Buat tim Vietnam mau lolos apa nggak lolos ya mending lu nggak usah lolos soalnya kan lu main di negara lu sendiri ya. Jadi saran gua mending lu nonton aja.
Vietnam, a region that exploded in the early stages.
Cái lớp này chắc là lớp mạnh nhất của Gao từ trước này.
Gao có khả năng tầm 60% để vô địch giải C năm nay.
Amid such intense competition, can they find the strength to bounce back?
Việc team em trùng khu khá nhiều nên cái lượng điểm thu thập được là không đủ để vào top 12.
Even so, for the Vietnamese representatives, missing out on the top 12 remains unthinkable.
Cái đó thì em không nghĩ tới, bởi vì line-up mùa này em khá là tự tin.
Dạ, động lực của em đến từ sự thất bại của mùa giải trước. Đó là một khoảng thời gian tồi tệ và rất dài đối với em, nên là mùa giải năm nay em phải cố gắng.
Vietnam's goal is not just to stay in the race, but to push as many opponents out of it as possible. While other regions are battling for every top 12 spot, no one seems to notice that Malaysia is closing in. Aurora and anyone can dream move like silent assassins, waiting for the fight and striking at the perfect moment.
Target kita orang nak lepas ke Vietnam lagi supaya dapat rasa macam dulu. Kita orang dah training lama.
Maybe tengok kita orang layak untuk pergi final 8 lah macam tu lah. Top 8 lah.
The race for the top 12 is nearing its end. Who will be left behind? Tune in to week 2 to find out.
Ate said the moon and the sun aren't rivals. I still believe in that.
Garena. Week 1 came to an end, and the battlefield of FFWS 2026 Spring had begun to take shape. Thailand rose to dominate the standings, claiming the entire top 4. 2 Team of the Day titles belong to Twisted Minds and Team Falcons. Team Falcons charge forward like a machine.
Friday night continues with week 3, day 1, or as we call it, phase 2 of the Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia Spring Season. 3 rounds have elapsed in the Friday night. We have 3 more to come, and by the end of this evening, 2 teams will book their direct flight to Vietnam for the grand finals. My name is Husky, and I'm joined by Dana Lee to continue bringing you guys some of the most action-packed games we have, and so far they have been delivering. The top teams are not at the top, and the teams who have been struggling in phase 1s are currently leading the pack.
Yeah, so it's been pretty interesting seeing everything unfold in our first play day for our phase 2 games, because everyone knows what's really at stake. What's at stake is that top 2 position, where if you're able to stay in top 2 for the rest of the day, then you get your spot locked in for grand finals, right? You're basically being locked in. You don't have to worry about your placement anymore. And that means other teams are going to come in to fill your spot, and everyone else is going to continue to battle for those positions. Now, the earlier you get that spot, in theory, it's good, because at least you get out of the potential place of being eliminated if you have a bad day, for example, if you have a bad week, essentially, because that's what's really happening here. So what's being rewarded are teams that are able to perform on this particular week, right? If you're able to end up in top 2 at the end of the day, then you get rewarded with the grand final spot. It's not a case of like just being a team that is reasonably consistent. You need to be exceptionally consistent if you want to have top 2. And for today in particular, it's really been a battle between Aurora, Bigatron, AG Global, and we've just started to see Heavy come into the picture. Heavy had been pretty absent towards the top of the bracket up until that last round, where they were able to grab that booyah, and that shot them from, I believe, like 8th or 9th place to 4th. So they are within arm's reach of potentially swiping away 1st and 2nd from Aurora and Bigatron. It's just they need to have 1 or 2 more exceptional rounds, and then they need to have a reasonable round, or if they can somehow do it, they need to be the ones to shut down Aurora, Bigatron, and AG in these next up-and-coming rounds. Now, the possibility of that happening, Husky, I think is questionable, because our next map is going to probably determine the fate for some of our teams. It's Kalahari. It's a very, very specialized map. We do have a couple of teams in the lobby that are Kalahari specialists, and generally speaking, they can farm the lobby if they have a pretty good run. Speaking of our teams towards the top, I don't know if you have any knowledge of Aurora, Husky, but as far as I understand for this team, Kalahari is not really a map that they're going to excel at. So is this maybe going to hurt Aurora in the long run? Possibly, because if they possibly bomb out in Kalahari, yes, they still have 2 more maps to go. If they're very unlucky, map number 6 is going to be Kalahari again, and that might come back and really bite them. Or it could be a favorable map, who knows? But we know Bigatron, okay, the Indonesians, generally speaking, do great on Kalahari. But if we want to talk about the heavy hitters for this map, typically it's RRQ, it's Falcons. I guess Buriram does pretty well on Kalahari as well, and AG generally does really good on Kalahari. So you kind of need to keep an eye out for these teams on Kalahari, because they would, in theory, be the lobby farmers. But considering some of the stuff that we've seen today, who knows, honestly.
I think, Aurora, they did mention in the early interview that obviously they will try to get as much booyahs as they can. If not, they will try to make it up with elimination. But I think they also, mentioned an important point, at least Axel did, which is, prior to that he was with Vamos and now Aurora Gaming. I think to a certain degree, the prestige of the team does carry some weight, and maybe that is also a source of motivation for them to perform better. And if it is, so be it. I'm all up for it, right? I want to see Malaysia back, not just in the regional finals, but on that world stage, because we missed out on the world stage at this point. I think about to be 3 years if it keeps continuing. But they gotta get through this first. Kalahari will be the test for Aurora Gaming to see if that long break has dampened their momentum in any way.
Yeah, they just got to keep it up, right? Like, they've been looking really great for today. They just got to keep it up. And I think Kalahari might be their biggest challenge yet. Pretty neutral flight path here, Husky, going from top to bottom. So it's not going to be too bad unless we maybe start seeing some of these teams compete for those drop zones. Now at the moment we are seeing Onyx and AG kind of flying in the same direction. So it looks like we're going to be seeing our first skirmish over there. In the meantime though, we also have Falcons dropping in pretty close to Aurora. Now this is where I'm kind of questioning whose decision is this? Is this Falcons or Aurora's call?
I have a feeling it's probably Falcon's call, or maybe they just happen to share the same spot, which I think they do. Only let's get the first Illim there. Instant revive onto Nameless. Nothing was lost, but knowing AG, they might just restart the whole fight here. And Oculus just to spot out something further location away to see if anyone from Onyx is taking those long range shots, but so far, lucky for them, no, Onyx are basically within close proximity.
It might just have to be a case of spray and pray here for Cypher because he is on the front lines. He has Putra right on his tail. Did go for a couple of shots. Nothing lethal yet though, but his team is not looking too great there. Barros is the first one to hit the ground as he got swarmed by Onyx players, and now Dew running for his own life as well. Looks like they won't be able to pursue him in the meantime, but the rest of the players though, Cypher is there going in for a fight there against Zyro. He's going to lose that fight unfortunately, but Dew and Cypher are going to go down.
Cypher didn't even finish the first dude. What? That was so odd. Maybe he thought he had it, but unfortunately, there's the Cassie electrotherapy that topped up his target just enough to survive. That was a very rare misplay from AG because that could have gone a lot better. But the good news is that at least they're out of the waters and they are able to go for the revive again. But Falcons against Aurora, it's going to be immediately a tough test for Aurora.
This looks like a big commitment too because they've committed to have somebody on that rooftop. They want to have that vision. So Aurora, I hope they have a plan for this to deal with On Fire on the rooftop. And oh, Zeus is going to be the first one to be picked off thanks to Pina. They do go for the instant pickup though. So Aurora is ready to go. Pina though going to be the next one to hit the ground thanks to the Axel. Beautiful sniping there from the rooftop though. Limit's trying to do best he can. Aurora going to try and zoom on out of there with Axel in the monster truck. On Fire hits the ground, but they catch the Axel.
A Limit finally tracks him down because if the Axel got out, that could have turned the whole game around. But still, Suez! What a response there! A flick onto Limit. Suez should be able to bring Jun back up. And that means that Aurora Gaming essentially won that skirmish with more members left alive. What was that? Zom stood no chance around the corner. And Bigatron basically cruising through that fight. And unfortunately for Flash, they're a bit crippled. Falcons as well on the run. Man, Aurora Gaming, this is a pretty good start for them.
Not just Aurora, but also the fact that Bigatron are also picking up points as well. Our lobby leaders are really leading based off of this alone. Tikui though going to be caught, unfortunately, clipped by Dew, and because it's on the high ground, there's no one nearby that will be able to pick him up. And you can see Dew looking to go in for that finishing blow. We do have reinforcements coming in, but they're too far away from Tikui. They can maybe try and go for that commitment onto Dew, just go for that one elimination, pick up that point for themselves, because yeah, it's just Dew up there actually going to be getting himself onto that satellite dish. So he's going to have to make WAG fight for this. In the meantime though, PLS1 going to be taken off on the other side of the map thanks to Barros, and Hong Am also getting caught. This is just none. Hello, WAG. What a horrible start.
I don't think there's much space for them to go and get a revive too. There is a vending machine, but I think it's on the lower floor. Even to get there, might have to go to Dew, who is guarding one area. They did bring Fong back, so at least they're not alone. Heavy onto Aurora. This is going to be Thai. Aurora gets out, and now Heavy left to deal with Falcons.
And Falcons, I do believe they're still recovering. They're not in a position where they want to try and fight a team head on. So if Heavy tries to push the issue, this might mean trouble for Falcons themselves. Twisted Minds in the meantime though, going to be able to grab a point from Flash. We do get another revive, but again, this is slowing down Flash's progress because they were also cut down by Bigatron earlier in the round. So recovery time has been extended, unfortunately, for Flash. Looks like RRQ did get in a bit of danger themselves, do go for the double team revive. So RRQ not looking too happy themselves this round. On Fire though, would have to be worried about Don't Cry. Looks like he is in a pretty safe spot unless he sticks his head out. Looks like just at the wrong time, Don't Cry decides to exit the aim. So they're going to be all right for now.
Heavy also saying a prayer too that Falcons decided to disengage from there, because I think Falcons also were not really in the best spot to take on any fights for now.
Yeah, they're not in the best position. I think, like, if you look at the economy, if we saw their inventory, I think this is a case of just, no, this would have been a premature fight for them. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Husky. Yeah, but Exposy definitely 2 versus 1. They go right into the watchtower, and Exposy had no chance.
Nope, not at all. Twisted Minds. Seriously, they want to commit onto this. Diamond actually shows up. Oh, wow, good stuff from Diamond there. Him and the Boss now tag teaming up. There might actually be an opportunity to end this. They do see Zyro and Adam. The electrotherapy is connected. It seems like Twisted Minds are going to double down on the aggression. The Boss holding the high ground. They do see the tether there. Ice grenade being thrown out. They're trying to push the Boss, and now the Boss needs to relocate and just buy enough time to isolate these fighters. What a valiant dash. Adam almost falls victim to that, and Putra unfortunately not able to punish the Boss, and now the Boss takes on the challenge. Putra wins that one and was able to stave off jump as well. Diamond here to reinforce and able to get the damage in. It's Diamond with 2, and Zyro also drops. Twisted Minds wins that.
They barely were able to win that. It looked like it might have been Onyx to be able to come out on top, but they pick up 3 eliminations. That puts them up to 5 points in the round. So Twisted Minds working slowly towards their recovery after having a very slow start. You know, if there's a map for them to recover, it's very possibly going to be this one. In the meantime, though, looks like Falcons running into RRQ. It's just Dutz, though, but you know, at this point, a point is still a point.
Any point is valuable. I mean, Aurora off screen is still raking up points just like they say they would. On Fire able to find Dutz here. Falcons need some signs of life, and he has to start from eliminating RRQ at Council Hall, which would be quite the irony, especially we are on Kalahari, but they are in the lightning zone. We have to be very careful. The cover is their #1 priority. Keroro getting chased down. 3 more glue walls to work with, and a plethora of medkits, but Keroro managing to disengage.
Yeah, disengages for now. Maybe they can try and reposition and go for a sandwich maneuver onto RRQ. That would be ideal. It's just that 18 Deer and his teammate, they're pretty close together. Arbai's there as well, so yeah. And Ma'al on the edge. This is the perfect place for RRQ. If Falcons try to rush this, I think they're going to be heavily punished. So as long as they take it slow, they still have a pretty good chance here, Husky.
And it seems like they are not willing to let this go anytime soon. Judging by the positionings of both teams, RRQ definitely in a more troublesome position, and chip damage being dealt multiple members. Ma'al actually finds a good snipe onto Pina there and able to barricade himself with the glue wall, so Limit couldn't get the trade in. An 18 deal with double revolver gets on fire. Limit finally gets a spring into action. But the numbers still favor RQ unless Ma'al loses this one. Limit around the corner. Couldn't really find a clear angle. Will have to use the hook gun right in front for CQC directly against Ma'al. A Limit finds himself trapped. Rip Tyrant gets used, but Limit prevails. The 180 just a bit sharper from the tie.
That was beautiful. That is exactly what Limit needed. Otherwise, it might have been Limit to hit the ground instead with Ma'al so close to him. So Falcons, we're starting to see a bit of a recovery for this team, whereas for RRQ, it's going to come at their expense. It's just Dutz there. I believe it's just him alive as well. So if he gets spotted, this is going to be a very early end for RRQ. And it looks like we do have our first team eliminated for the round. It's going to be Bigatron, and this was at the hand of Buriram as well.
Limit getting blasted by Dutz, so the trade still continues, but RQ might be on the last legs as Dutz gets taken down. And RQ unfortunately just not able to win the long fight. Just off of Limit's efforts, they bring him back. It's a pat on the back for his work, and he'll be able to instantly loot up here with all the equipment dropped by the RQ members. Zyro unfortunately getting picked off out in the open. That's going to be point #4 for Heavy.
Looking at the scoreboard, though, we are starting to see some teams really go all in for these eliminations. Aurora at 6, AG at 7. We have Onyx at 8 eliminations, Twisted Minds and Buram both at 5. Even Falcon sitting on 5 points. So, yeah, everybody is just farming these eliminations, Husky. And look at where this circle is going to be. It looks like it's going to be a dead center refinery circle. So teams that are playing on the outer edge, they will have to start moving in, and you can have a look at what's happening in the top there. Falcons, I believe, are sharing a little bit of real estate there, so we are seeing a bit of a skirmish happen. Twisted Minds, in the meantime, though, will be teleporting together onto Foundation, so it's really just going to be a case of, I guess the best way to say it, if we're going to say it the Malaysian way, everyone's going to Balik Kampung, which is refinery.
Yep. And Heavy should be holding on to command post in a very solid manner. I don't think anyone would come. Usually you would see BRU here, but they haven't been showing much presence. And in fact, Alan with just great tracking. Zyro did not stand a chance. Let's see what Onyx's response is going to be, because both of them are pretty close to the circle. But if Onyx makes the first move, Heavy will gladly take the shots.
Yeah, as long as they don't stick their head out, they should be fine. But Heavy will need to move too, though, because that blue zone is going to start creeping in towards that tower of theirs. They're trying to see if anyone's on that high ground, but so far it looks like it's pretty clear. So maybe that's going to be the next path here for Heavy. They want to try and play on that high ground because they know that Onyx is there. They know that if they have access to the high ground, they will have a much easier chance at punishing those teams that are playing towards the very open, grounded side. So there we go, Heavy will need to make that call eventually to start moving. They really want to wait for Onyx to start moving. I kind of feel like if they wait too long, there's a good chance someone else is going to actually punish Heavy for taking a bit too long to move. I have to see.
BRU now, I feel like after the first 3 rounds, BRU probably would be thinking of playing it slow. I want to say the same for Falcons, but they unfortunately are constantly running into people who want them gone, and Peanut the fun on fire now also coming online. In fact, Twisted Minds of their earlier spectacle not able to replicate that against Falcons. Falcons with a instant
10
team
eliminations.
wipe, and that is 10 points already.
Yeah, there's a reason why Falcons are normally quite feared on Kalahari. This is one of their more specialized maps, so I'm starting to feel a little jolt, okay? I think I'm starting to feel some of that Falcons energy coming back. It's just Kalahari, we're not over yet, okay? We haven't seen what place Falcons is going to end, but I think for all the Falcon fans, I think just to see this team kind of spark back to life, that's already some good news, especially coming into tomorrow's games. Now, looking through their point of view, we do see Argon MY over towards the corner over there. We have Flash nearby as well, and even Boiram is there as well, currently occupying the top half of Refinery, so it'll be interesting to see where Falcons decide to move next. Right now, they're playing on that lower floor. I do wonder if they, at some point, are going to maybe try and play for the high ground. They could, but I feel like if you do decide to go for that, it can leave you quite open. Speaking of open, though, on the low ground, we see RRQ fighting into Heavy, and, well, unfortunately for Heavy, out in the open because there's not really too many places you can hide around on that low ground.
So the past few minutes, I've also been paying attention to the kill feed, and Aurora Gaming is actually secretly and steadily stacking up points. So I do wonder how much points will they have the next time we check in on them. This Riptide Rhythm is going to be huge. All of them are revealed just by one ability from Moshi. No elimination yet, and that's the silver lining for Falcons. They will have to come up with a plan B on how to respond to this, but it seems like directly fighting Moshi isn't exactly the best idea. Meanwhile, WAG against AG, Aurora shows up, Switch just drops in hot with the Axo. They're gonna be looking for WAG members. Azrael does get knocked down by Noki, but they were able to bring it back up. Now AG wants to retaliate for what happened earlier, but Aurora just has a lot more members to work with. 12 eliminations and counting.
Oh, looks like Azrael got caught yet again, and Aurora is super low. They're in that blue zone. They are taking so much damage. Like, yes, they're leading with 12 points, but can they heal the team back up? I don't think they can. It's actually just one player remaining for Aurora, so it's going to be a game of placement points. In the meantime, though, on the low ground, we have AG and Flash fighting. for this low ground control. It's going to be Nameless up against the entire roster, but it looks like Aurora do finally get sniped out, so it's just going to be mainly those elimination points for Aurora. AG is going to be the next team to follow them into the grave as well, leaving us with our top 6 teams here, Husky. We have 6 teams remaining, 21 warm bodies still, 21 eliminations, essentially, if you want to include that full lobby. Who's going to be able to capitalize the most off of this, though?
For once, we see BRU and Falcons in the top 6, which is a really rare sentence to say. Even Argon and Y, they're in the equation as well. Onyx Olympus wiped out. M2.
Oh, Moshi!
M2, M2B. Ooh. Bias with a good stuff there. Moshi actually really caught with his pants down. Argon and Y staying low on the radar. Now BRU spreading out to gather more intel. Moshi almost dropping down to low ground. That would have been his demise for sure.
It's okay. I think he's very well versed in using that hook gun. Gotta regroup with the team. We've seen a few times where if Buram lose Moshi, it actually really weakens their front line with Wasana and Jonah. Now they do still have the high ground, but look at where that circle is going to be, Husky. That is slowly rotating away. So anyone playing on that high ground, they're going to have to start making a move soon. We have RRQ on the low ground. Falcons still stuck on the high ground. And under Falcons, we have Flash. So for our teams currently on top of that refinery, they're going to have to make a call. They either have to decide to fight into the team on the low ground, or they're going to have to run into the opposing team on that same level and just fight into them head on. Oh, Argon and MY there, Husky, running into Flash.
Can they do this? Is Argon and MY going to take over the mantle of Aurora Gaming? Zom actually gets knocked down. ABCD with a very good reply there. They go for the trade. ABCD finds the second one, and ABCD, he's one popping off. ABCD with an ace to annihilate Argon MY, but now they face a secondary challenger, which is RRQ Kazu.
RRQ, it's been so interesting to see RRQ play so quietly, but it looks like that circle is almost settled in. Moshi was clipped on that satellite dish. They will try to go for the pickup. Get High is going to join his team as well. Falcons on that upper floor, looking pretty injured. They will need to heal up at some point. Korora going to be able to going to hit the deck alongside Limit. So yeah, Falcons not looking too healthy at the moment, but I think this match might be dictated by Falcons and Flash, because for Buriram, they might have that high ground, but the disadvantage of being up there is if you don't clear that lower deck, you're going to be at the mercy of everybody that's waiting for you down there.
And in this case, I think for BRU, they have a lot of space to work with as well.
Buriram?
I think it is.
Insane.
I mean, RQ has a lot of high ground to work with. Like, their satellite dish is doing them wonders. 2-2 formations, not easy to break, but if Falcons can swarm just one of the compound, which is where Get High and Wasana are at, it will give them a very good chance of removing BRU from the equation. And that's what they were thinking, right? They're also tossing utilities up to where the satellite dish are. So 2 pressure points that BRU have to deal with. It's for RQ, they can just wait.
Okay, Husky, if this goes down to a game of survival, who do you think is currently in the best position? Because like right now, Buriram, I think they might be dead center, but you can see Falcons are trying to break through. They're trying to break through those glue walls. But at the same time, you have RRQ on the low ground. They have nobody to compete with, so they might even be able to just play with health packs.
Yep. To Zom.
Oh, Buriram.
Good initiative. That double Riptide Rhythm. And BRU actually responds, so it's a 3-way fight now. I think RRQ can wait. They can just wait. I think RRQ has the best chance of winning this round. It might just come down to a healing battle. RRQ, they do not need to engage at all. They're not in a position to engage either way. And we just let the other 3 teams in the higher deck of Refinery duke it out.
It's getting smaller. Falcons might have to engage into Flash at some point, because if these 2 teams don't start fighting now, it's going to be a battle to the death to go onto the low ground. Does anyone dare go down to where RRQ is? I feel like that's also a death sentence, so you can't really win. We're running out of space here, Husky. We're running out of time as well. That circle is getting smaller. There's not enough real estate. Someone's going to have to make that call first. It's going to be Kororo trying to go for the backstab there onto Flash, but Flash are just hiding behind those glue walls.
I mean, BRU again, this 2-2 formation is giving us such good agency to work through the other teams. The crossfire is set up just now. Falcons ended up losing their place in rotation, and now Jonah and Moshi is gonna reconvene with the rest of the team. And now RQ, they can start to wreak havoc. BRU, they're gonna focus on what's on the upper deck first. They get rid of Falcons. Now they have to work through Team Flash. 18 Deer gonna get it ready for some healing game. They're throwing the cryo mine from the bottom. RRQ just trying to play spoilers. They're not here to get the eliminations, but they just want to create chaos, and they're doing the exact same thing that retired them so cheeky from the low ground. And now they try to bounce on the top, but Deuce misses his hook gun, and Abai ends up getting dropped. This could be what allows Team Flash to win this. Ma'ao able to get a shot in as the circle fully closes in. It's the Zom that puts the final nail in the coffin, and Team Flash finds the second booyah of the night.
That was insane. That ending was crazy. We had 3 teams battling it out on the refinery, and then we had RRQ just essentially being sharks on that low ground, just waiting for the next target. But I feel like RRQ may have made a bit of a mistake, especially in that final moment. We saw them actually try to jump onto the high ground, maybe to either fight into Flash or maybe to fake a fight, because they kind of missed the ledge with a couple of their players. I think, was it Arbai that actually got taken down on the high ground? I think it was Arbai. It was one of the players. Okay, one of the players for RRQ got taken down, which left them with 3. And Flash, I think they made the most interesting play ever. They feinted a drop. They dropped, and then they hook gunned themselves back up to say that, okay, we're not fully committing to this fight. And I think RRQ got really messed up there because they thought it was going to be a very typical fight on the low ground. That didn't end up being the case. They just got mind gamed. I truly feel like this team got absolutely played.
I honestly felt like RRQ didn't need to do that. You can see just a split second of double back, right? Like 2 of their players launched up, one of them missed it, and then suddenly they just call it off. I felt like that wasn't necessary. I honestly thought that they would just wait on the low ground, wait for Flash to jump down, because when Flash jumps down, there's a delay in travel time mid-air that they could deal with the Viets. But instead, they made that move, and I felt like it costed them the booyah. Although it's shocking, I felt like it's sort of like a blunder there. But RQ and Final Circle blunders aren't exactly, aren't exactly a rare thing. We've seen it multiple times. I think this is one of those few moments where I felt like they should have just waited.
Yeah, I think a lot of us thought that they should have waited. Let's play devil's advocate, okay? Let's think about this through RRQ's point of view. In what scenario would you need to force your team to make that play? Because if I recall that final scenario, like as the team tried to hook gun their way up onto the top ledge, I do think Flash was looking too healthy after that fight up against Boyram. I actually thought Flash was maybe going to lose 1 or 2 players before that fight ended, but they didn't. They managed to keep their full 4-man roster. They also looked pretty healthy as well. So I wonder if RRQ thought that, oh, they didn't, like, they looked too healthy for us to fight comfortably into them. I don't know about your point of view.
That could be a reasoning, but I still felt like they didn't need to do that because they had the lower ground, and not only that, Flash can't really hurt them when the circle fully closes in, right? Flash will have to be the team that makes the move, that heads to the lower ground, take on that fight, because I think if Abai wasn't knocked, then it would be a fair 4v4. They would have had a much bigger chance. Again, made a bit of a blunder, they lost 1 member before the fight even begun, and then the Zom just wrecked them. So I guess it's another RQ choke, but hey, at least they finished top 2. At least there's a decent amount of points going into their pocket.
I think there's one more theory that I possibly have, but I think we're gonna have to wait until we get highlights because I just want to double confirm this theory. My theory is if there was Cassie electrotherapy on Flash and there was none for RQ. But I feel like both teams ran electrotherapy. Because like my theory is that one team has healing, the other team doesn't. So maybe RRQ thought that they were going to lose the healing battle. That's the other thought process I have. But it looks like highlights are ready, so we can just kind of go through this and see what the scenario was, especially for that final moment.
Yeah, of course, with our match MVP, ABCD, of course, he got a full team wipe earlier on before we even got to the final circle, and then the Zom was the one who stepped up towards the very end. I think Team Flash, they stayed quite silent throughout the first quarter of the game, but when push came to shove, when they really needed to slug it out, they put up a very good fight. Individually, ABCD with 9 eliminations this game.
9 eliminations. Flash just went all out. But to be fair, it really did come down to like that refinery fight. There were just too many warm bodies. There was just not enough space. I feel like it was just a shooting range for Flash at that point. But hang on, we're slowly reaching that moment where things are starting to get a little bit dicey here for the team. So I hope we see that final moment where RRQ decided to go for the hook gun onto the high ground. We're up to 4 teams. We just got to wait until we see the end of that fight for Buriram. We still have Falcons in that fight. I feel so bad for Falcons because they had such a horrible day. This was supposed to be the redemption arc. And yeah, they look too healthy. Oh, we didn't get to see the full thing.
But even when you look at their point of view, you can see it's very obvious that there's no way they can threaten RRQ because when RRQ is right below them, right? So they will have to jump down regardless. And RRQ would have had some time to anticipate that. So again, I think RRQ made quite a mistake by trying to go to Team Flash instead of the opposite. Because in a lot of Battle Royale situations, especially on Kalahari, when we see these kind of final circles and you have cover below, usually teams that the teams would jump down. Teams that you know that fear that they might lose out are gonna make the aggressive move to go down because the low ground feels a lot more safer. You get natural cover, people will have to come to you instead. But still, Team Flash with the Booyah, the electrotherapy, giving ABCD all the durability that he needs in the fight, and of course the Nero and Skylar as great utility supports.
Yeah. Oh man, Flash just went all out. Look at this. ABCD 9. You have Zom with 3, the God with 1. Yeah, sure. Min Kong, you know, he's not there for the eliminations. He's there for the assists. Okay, he was there. He contributed to the team. Just provided so much for the roster, especially coming into that late game. I'm sad we only get to see Flash's lineup because I really wanted to see what I really wanted to see what RRQ was running. Because I think if we saw the actives that both of these teams are running, I think we probably would be able to piece together a possible story of why RRQ decided to go for that preemptive fight. Because I don't want to believe for a second they did that for no reason. Like, there was a call made. There was a sign of desperation that forced them into that play. It's just, unfortunately, we don't have the information to really discern like what the issue was. Maybe, for example, RRQ just ran out of grenades. They said like, we can't do anything from the low ground, and maybe they didn't have enough health kits to try and play that long run. So yeah, with all said and done, Team Flash are gonna lock in with 25 points in first place, 13 eliminations and 12 placement points. Second place we have Falcons and Buriram United Esports, both tied with 18 points apiece, followed by RRQ with 17, Aurora Gaming with 15, Onyx with 14, and we have the rest of our teams. Our leaderboard did get updated. It did get updated. Flash in second place. I repeat, Flash in second place. Aurora still keep first place, but by only 1 point. And the point difference is because of a elimination point, Husky.
I say Aurora, they were working behind the scenes to rake in a lot of elimination points prior to us seeing them get eliminated in 8th place. But I was confident that they had enough elimination points to keep themselves afloat. Still, it's still anyone's game from this point onwards. The gap between 7 and 8 widened just by a bit, but Aurora Gaming, if they can keep this consistent, top 2 is not a problem at all. This round, we saw Falcons step up, but Falcons stepping up doesn't make too much of a difference because even if they take the points away, they are too far behind to catch up.
Yeah, any points essentially that go to Falcons at this point of time are points that are not going to our teams trying to fight for top 2. So yeah, it's unfortunate for the rest of the lobby if Falcons do well. But you know, you got to leave the Falcons, okay? Leave the Falcons to their own devices. I do want to do a bit of a discussion on the current state of the leaderboard and what's really changed, right? So Aurora stayed in first place. That is fine. I think that is something that we've already acknowledged. Second place, though, it used to be Bigatron. Bigatron, believe it or not, went from second place to 6th place in the span of 1 round.
Yep.
That just shows how competitive the lobby is in game 4. That's just game 4. We still have 2 more games to go. And Flash, they went from 6th place to 2nd place because of that 1 single round. So again, teams that are massively performing today are being rewarded. So anyone that is still within, I want to say that 6th place and up, they can absolutely take top 2. I think, unfortunately for Heavy in 7th place and anyone below them, it might be too late for them at this point of time, with just 2 games remaining. Unless they have like the best game of their lives and they just suddenly get like 60 points across 2 games, then maybe. But the odds of that happening is already very, very small.
It's a lot tougher if you are like, when you were heading into game 5 and you are, I think, 7th or 8th place onwards. But it, again, like previous round just so happens to be the round where all the teams that we expected to perform from the get-go finally started performing, right? So they make up for lost time, but at the same time they also shook up the standings. Again, right now there are certain teams that if the points go over to them, it doesn't matter too much because they would just be flushing the points away instead of giving it to the teams who want to head for top 2. If you're Aurora Gaming, you will be super happy if you have a good game, and then teams at the bottom are taking the points away from everyone else. We're gonna head into game number 5, the last map before the randomizer of game 6, and so far Aurora Gaming still has shown consistency through and throughout.
I don't want to jinx this team. They have shown consistency through and through, but the fact that this next map is Bermuda, anything can happen. Anything can happen, and I fear for Aurora because if this team does not stay consistent in their points, I think at any point if this team does not grab eliminations and if they don't score at least, I want to say, top 5 in placements, they will lose top 2. Even though they have managed to stay in first place for the last few rounds. We have a pretty neutral flight path here going into Bermuda, and it looks like we're not seeing anything too crazy, so everyone's going for a clean reset for round number 5.
Yep, drop spots very standard for all the teams going to their usual spots. There was a Dynopter scan on where Aurora Gaming was. I wonder who put that scan out, because that was very instant. To list it one for Onyx Olympus, peak for BRU. As always, the team closest to BRU is probably Aurora Gaming. Graveyard being taken over by Falcons. Finally a round where you don't have early skirmishes at the start of the game.
Yeah, but they finally get to have a little bit of peace. A moment of peace, Sasuke. But how long is that peace going to last for? Because I feel like, okay, the fact that everyone's just had a clean start, I feel like this is the calm before the storm. The calm before the storm where teams just start running into each other and they just go all out for those elimination points. Because, again, we're starting to see the importance of those elimination points. Because if you recall back to the leaderboard, the teams leading the charge on the leaderboard are leading because they have so many elimination points. Like, yes, placement points play a role, but these teams are also leading because they have so many eliminations under their belt.
Yeah. We actually saw a couple of hit lists being put out as well. Aurora Gaming put one out onto BRU of all teams. As Heavy engages with AG, but it's just due. Should be very manageable due in a 1v2. Ooh. Wow, actually outmaneuvered it with the mini Uzi, but thankfully Mufasa was able to catch up. Deny that point for AG.
It could have been worse. Yeah, Dew's one of the scary ones. You think he's just an unsuspecting victim, and turns out you're the victim instead. We do have a bit of a skirmish here, though. Twisted Minds running into Bigatron very early in the round, and with 3 players on the ground and just jump remaining, things are not looking too great here. Because Twisted Minds, they've given away a bunch of points to Bigatron. Look at this, they're jumping ahead of the vehicle. Oh, Jumpy's still trying to get away. He swerves as well. It's a disaster for Twisted Minds. They don't even get a chance to play the game. Oh, Twisted Minds, sayonara. We'll see you in round number 6.
Yep. Another team that, if they don't get the points, if they get the points, it doesn't affect the standings much. But it's unfortunate. Good move from BRU though. Heavy taking heavy fire here again, a rematch. Alan this time will not win out. Don't cry to the rescue.
Oh,
he gets shot down by Nameless. One is still there. Mufasa back up on his feet in 1v2. Mufasa now forced to back off. The P90 not enough in his hands, and AED will start cleaning up his teammates.
Oh, Mufasa has been cornered. They're going to try and go for a quick heal, but with so many players from AG nearby, There's only so much time he has left to himself. He's just trying to buy time for Katuan. His teammate is going to be able to get away, but Heavy, unfortunately, will be out of commission for the next couple minutes, as Katuan will have to focus on bringing his teammates back. But I have to say, Mufasa doing a really good job at wasting AG's time here.
Felt like if some of these shots connected, it would have been a lot different, but seems like AG is not having that good of time. Let's see if Secret WAG will have a better time. Alif dash from Alif, but completely whipping the shot. That felt like a freebie there, but thankfully teammates bring him back up, and Noki to the rescue. Double retirement for PLS1, not doing too much. Noki right in his face, backup is here. PLS1 is no more, and the cryo mine as well. Detect where Nanis, this should be Argon MY's chance to finish off what they started without any survivors. There's a vending machine nearby though, and Nan actually can go for full team revive. Can it get to him before he triggers it? It's gonna be so close. 100 health, fire it. You gotta stop the revive, and indeed
traps.
They do. Traps with the finisher.
Oh, so painful. So not even a chance to revive your teammates. Not just that, Husky. We've seen a lot of players just being run down in this match. In case any of our viewers are watching that kill feed, we are just seeing names back to back to back, just zipping by, either being red or green. We do have Aurora being able to buy back 2 of their players, so it looks like recovery is going to be the name of the game here for Aurora. Our team currently leading the leaderboard. We do have the Axel though, who has been spotted out by Flash, unfortunately, so yeah, not going to be long for this world, unfortunately, unless maybe Axel can escape somehow. Going to be able to get away on foot, it looks like, so maybe going to be able to live for another day.
Should be fine, should be fine. Doesn't seem like Flash has any interest in chasing him. We lost track of where he went. So I think they have the launch pad. They might still catch up to him. We'll have to see in a bit, as the god is very far away from the rest of his team. Him and ABCD, the good opener there. Unfortunately, there's nothing much the Flash can do. They will have to relocate.
Yeah, no thanks. I don't want to fight into that at all. I think good call for Flash. You kind of want to bail out of that as quick as possible. So there's a vending machine. They get the buyback. But look at that Bigatron. They say, we want those points back. We need to go for something. So they will pursue Flash. Now the thing is, can they successfully dismantle this team? Because we've seen Bigatron. They can absolutely shred teams. They just need to do it carefully. We've seen them sometimes get a little too ahead of themselves, especially when they're searching for these eliminations. Oh.
Yep, and they do find a Zom. That's already a good start. If BTR and Flash, these 2 teams get knocked out early, then it is wondrous news for Aurora Gaming. Which I think they still have the full team left alive, now reaching the water dam. Heavy around the corner.
I think someone's flying in. They actually revived them here. So Alan, if he spots this out, he might be able to get a very easy drop. But I think also Alan is thinking, is it even worth it? Oh, looks like Azrael has spotted him out though. And poor Alan, all on his own. I mean, he would love to try and go for that elim, but not a chance, they say.
Getting another point. Don't cry so late.
Axel, he doesn't know.
He moves at the last second. That headshot would have been his demise. Quite a stroke of luck or spidey senses, but this could just be enough for Aurora Gaming to turn it on heavy.
Yeah, knowing Aurora and how they are looking in this game, I would not be surprised if they decide to turn on this immediately. Heavy in the meantime, though, going to be able to spot out Kojo. Going to go for a bit of a swapperoo there, saying, okay, you fly on in, I'm going to fly on out instead. You might fly to heaven instead. Mufasa going to be clipped in mid-air. I mean, the rest of his team is still okay, but Mufasa tried to go for a cute play. Kojo, in the meantime, though, had other plans. Going to be able to secure a point for the team. And Bigatron are leading with 10 points to their name, so they are looking to bring themselves back up on that leaderboard. And remember, Bigatron, they might be in 6th place, but they're sitting on 52 points. If they have an outstanding round, and if everyone else is pretty average, they can absolutely slip back into top 2.
100%, and it seems like the Bigatron train is not stopping. 12 eliminations now.
Oh, there goes
Bigatron
Heavy.
Getting the engines rolling. This is the steam engine. The freight train of BTR. This is dangerous. They amass a big lead by the end of this round. Let's assume that they get the booyah. Then it's almost guaranteed that no one's going to be first except for them.
Yeah, they can, at this point, they can very well offset everyone else's points. They just have to try and make it to the very end. We see Buriram finally sticking their neck out just to throw a couple of shots onto Falcons. No elims for that, just a couple pot shots, but they do reveal their position. So Buriram, if they can, they would like to be a little opportunistic with some of these shots. They're thinking about Onyx. I think the team is trying to figure out where to go next, because right now they're kind of stuck here on this rooftop. And here we go. We have our top-down view of where our teams are going to be traveling. So Bigatron is still split towards that upper section of the map. We have Aurora playing near Riverside as well, looking to come in from that top right. But look at how crowded this map is, Husky. We have a team in practically every corner of that safe zone. Anyone that's not already in that safe zone is going to have a heck of a fight to even make it in.
Gotta fight through the crowd, that's for sure. The two teams who are having a very good game so far, they're at the outskirts. Aurora and BTR. Good news is that they will not run into each other anytime soon. Doesn't seem like BTR will want to make that long trip.
I don't know. To me, Bigatron looks like they want to go in the same angle as Aurora, maybe, that top right hand. Because right now, for both of those teams, towards the top side of Peak is really the safest place for them to make it into what I'm going to now officially call Club Bermuda, because this club is a little full.
See where the circle shifts towards. Double Dinoculus shoots as well.
Oh,
the launch!
Oh, they're
Aurora!
Oh no!
They are gonna run into each other. There is a bunker there. Aurora might have just missed it. They just missed it.
Oh, they just missed each other. If Bigatron and Aurora fight now, that might determine where Aurora and Bigatron land on this leaderboard. That would have been an insane fight to happen.
Wow, the
Aurora
timing.
dodged a bullet.
They
They dodged a bullet. Oh, the patience. I think everyone's starting to feel it now. Like how tense this game is getting.
Aurora still needs to move a bit. They're still baiting in the blue, so that's not going to be good for them if they spend too long inside the blue. We saw what happened in the previous round where because of that they lost too many members too fast despite getting 12 eliminations.
Another elimination for Bigatron. They catch one of Onyx. They're looking for more. I think they're up to 14 eliminations, Husky, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. SPRE want to intervene this. Can
it's about to
Onyx
be
fight
14.
back?
They're going.
You gotta wish for someone to stop Bigatron right now, but it does clear the path for Aurora to start moving forward if they want to. Onyx certainly will have to deal with this already. With one less member. Bigatron trying to storm the building. You can see the grenade launcher is being pulled out as well, but Koja very easily falls back. And Adam will have to do the same as well. Digs around the corner, but Adam just has to do what to keep himself safe. Cluster grenades thrown indoor. The first 4 already cleared. The second one bounces off of the roof. So Zyru will be safe.
Oh, Putra though. Big shot there from Koja, but Dix is also going to be able to hit the ground as well. So 1 for 1 so far, but they don't even finish off Putra. He gets picked up, so Bigatron, they lose Dix in that. This is what everyone in the lobby wants. They need somebody to cut Bigatron down. And right now with one player down, that might be just what the lobby needs to slow down their assault. In the meantime though, RRQ fighting into AG. Now RRQ is on that high ground. AG coming in from that low ground, but these grenades, these blue wall melters might cause problems for RRQ if they can't find a way to stop this attack coming in from AG.
AG is slowly running out of defenses as well. A bike gets shot. Fight between BTR and Onyx continues off screen. Double rip from the side. AG still able to survive. Ma'al did his best and still able to finally shut him down. And now the rush begins. That Valen dash was very well executed from the side of AG. RRQ didn't stand a chance there.
They didn't stand a chance. As soon as they lost Ma'al, that was the sign for them to just go on in and clean them up. And following them to the grave is going to be Onyx in 8th place, leaving us with our top 7 teams here, Husky. Bigatron still in the game with 16 eliminations to their name. Yes, they only have 2 players, but at this point, any points are a bonus for Bigatron. If the further they can survive up until this point, the better for Bigatron. Now, as for everybody else, Aurora, for them to stay in first place, they need more eliminations to their name. I think right now they are currently at risk of maybe even losing that first place, maybe even second place, if they don't start picking up something now.
Yep, I agree. They definitely need a bit more eliminations. Best case scenario, they get the Booyah here. But we still have a couple of teams they need to go through, and now it's AG.
Up to AG. Yeah.
It's not gonna be easy.
If AG cut them down, that might just blow the door wide open for Bigatron to go first.
Bigatron right now are already first. We just need to see if Aurora can keep
Aurora.
out Axel.
Axel!
Almost being fought by his own wall. He needs some help, and BRE is not making it any easier. I think Aurora might just end up getting wiped here. Can Astro get even just one extra point.
Oh,
Doesn't seem
no.
possible. AGAL shuts the door.
AG shut them down, and they even had assistance coming in from the other side. In the meantime, though, we have Argon MY fighting up against Flash, but finally going to try and break through with ABCD, but instead he's going to go down. Oh, Flash, they just weren't able to blow the doors wide open, instead giving away all these eliminations to the other side, and this leaves the God all on his own up against Argon MY. I mean, the best he can hope for now is to maybe go for a one-tap, but he's stuck in that blue zone. There is no way he's going to find a clear entry point into that blue zone.
Could be the end of Team Flash here, but Argon MY in top 6 is not doing too poorly. And even Falcons, they made it far, but very little.
Oh, look at the scoreboard.
Eliminations to work with. Doesn't
Look
really
at the
matter too
scoreboard.
much. AG and BTR now lead the pack in total points. I think Aurora pushed down to 4th place because of that.
Oh, after one round, Husky. One round where they played a little bit too passive. There we go. Flash going to be dropped into 6th place. We still have 4 teams left in the competition. Bigatron, though, fighting into Breweram. They're not looking too bad. It's an equal trade across the board, but this might just be it. Breweram beat them out. Yes, Bigatron might be out of the running, but they got the points they wanted. Bigatron are now currently in 2nd place. Now, the thing is, can anybody take their spot?
I think it's still doable here. BRU
I don't
needs
know.
to start making, need to start rotating outfits, but they do have the most space to work with in the safe zone. Them and Falcons have been incredibly slow so far, but finally made it to the final circle. So it's a tie affair here. All 3 of them. BRU and Falcons won't be changing the standings much, even if they win, but AG can.
Yeah, AG, if I'm not mistaken, I saw the scoreboard. AG is in 1st place on the scoreboard. So right now, this is a little outdated. AG in 1st place, Bigatron in 2nd, Flash in 3rd with 72 points. Breweram before this is at 61 points with 0 eliminations. So at this point, if you're Breweram, they want to grab eliminations. AG in the meantime, they're just going to be shot dead by 2 teams, not even given a chance to grab those points. So it's going to be a full 4v4 between Breweram and Falcons. And if anyone needs it, it's Breweram.
Yep, this is a classic showdown, but if Falcons takes this away, then them and Breweram will be... They will drag Breweram down with them.
Oh,
and
Jonah!
Starts off good! And unfortunately, there's no one there to save Jonah, and that gives Falcons man advantage. Get high, down to 30% health. Wasana will try to fight this, but get high, gets sniped on the back, and there goes to Cassie, and there goes the rest of BRU. Falcons finds their booyah.
They find their booyah, and this is going to come at the cost of everybody else, especially for Breweram, because they really wanted not just the extra placement points, but they also wanted those elimination points if they got the Falcon players, because right now, I don't think Breweram is able to break into top 2 yet. If they got those points, it either would have gotten them very close, or they might have been able to just slip into top 2. So for Falcons to come in and to ruin the party, in particular Pina, he, I feel like, is the reason why Falcons won that 4 versus 4. He broke into the back lines, and there just wasn't anything on the side of Breweram that was able to stop Pina.
It's a very straightforward round for Falcons and BRU. Both played pretty slow and strategic. They weren't really out for blood, but just trying to stay alive until the final circle. But once push came to shove, we still saw the 4v4 prowess of these 2 squads. In this case, Falcons is a bit sharper because it was of limit being able to hit his shots.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of math here. I think before Breweram went down, I think they had 8 eliminations to their name. So 8 eliminations, which is 8 points. They got 2nd place. So that would be 9 points, right?
2nd place, yes. 9th place, yes.
Yeah, so 9 plus 8 is going to be 17 points, yes? Am I mathing?
Yes, you are mathing.
Okay, so 17 points. Now, before I have an outdated leaderboard, but essentially the positioning for the teams is that AG is in 1st with 75 points. Bigatron is 2nd with 73. Flash was 3rd with 72. Breweram was in 5th place with 61 points.
Yes.
So I think they're either in 3rd place or 4th place right now. I don't think they would have broken into 2nd.
Yeah,
I think.
But that allows them to be within arm's reach of getting to top 2.
Yeah.
Now it's doable again.
It's very doable. It can go either way. Oh, but I feel so bad for Aurora because they have been holding on to first place since like the second game, I think, of the day. Like, Aurora just looked so good, so consistent. I just think that because they held on to first place for so long today that maybe the team's starting to get the jitters, like they're starting to get nervous, realizing that they're so close to maybe being one of the top 2 teams. They tried to play it safe and they got punished for it.
Yeah, I think
Go ahead.
for Aurora, you know, the previous round definitely was slightly unfortunate, right? They tried to play slow, and that's why you saw all these late rotations. But unfortunately, even though they missed out on BTR with that rotation, they still ended up having to fight out in the open, right? Which didn't, necessarily go in their favor, considering there's BRU watching them from behind. So I think the rotation was sort of one of the big factors that costed them that round. But they can still get a good round in round 6, and there's a chance that it's good enough to bring them back to the top 2.
No, I agree. Like, they definitely still have a chance of coming back into top 2. Do you think, okay, this might be a hot take. Do you think Aurora lost, or basically did horribly that round because they decided to move away from this aggressive play style that they had been playing throughout the day? I swear for like the previous games, Aurora would be the ones to be the initiators, they'd be hunting teams, hunting players, like they were the ones proactively playing the game. And then the moment they decide to take a seat in the passenger seat, they get punished for it. And it's come at a cost of them dropping out of top 2.
I think it's a very reasonable thing, reasonable reason too, because some teams, especially teams that usually struggle to keep consistent, usually what they would do is they would play to not lose, right? They'll play not to lose instead of playing to win. And I think, when you suddenly kind of change the way you approach and then it doesn't work out, you end up losing momentum. I personally feel like they should stick to what they did previously. Not to say that whatever they did in Game 5 wasn't good enough, but you can definitely see the main difference, right? Where they start to delay their rotation and then they just couldn't find the right spot to play into.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. And to be fair, this was also Bermuda as well, so this isn't a case of map specialization. Everyone can play this map. So I think it really just was a case of like maybe them getting outskilled, wrong place, wrong time. They still have one more game to go, but I think now we're going to have to see what's going to play out for game number 6 because we're going to the random map. And we know for some teams, this random map might determine who makes it into top 2. Because it could be Bermuda. Okay, this could be a map that everybody can play, so it could be anyone's game. Or it could be some of our specialized maps, like Kalahari or Solara, because not everybody is comfortable on either of those maps. So if you are not going to be comfortable on map number 6, good luck. Good luck playing map number 6, especially if you're aiming for top 2, because this is your last chance if you are really trying to gun for top 2 on day 1 of phase 2 matches.
And again, this will only get tougher and tougher as the day kind of progresses. So overall, I think going into round 6, Aurora, if they want to find their groove back, maybe look back at round 2 and 3, right? I think those 2 rounds are their best performing rounds. And one of the reasons it worked was also because they not only were able to find the eliminations, but they were backing each other up very nicely. I think Zuez and Exo have been the standout throughout the entire evening. Now they just need to replicate that for one more round.
Okay, so we have our game standings. 23 points for Bigatron. Oh boy, Bigatron, they worked. They worked freaking hard for this, and they've slipped their way back into second place. AG will stay in first place with 79 points, but close on these teams' heels. We're with 73, Flash with 72, and let's include Aurora into this. 69 points for Aurora. So all it takes for any of these teams is one dang good round. And we don't even know what the map is. I think that's the issue now. We don't even know what the map is.
But there's a cutoff point, right? The cutoff point is actually Aurora themselves. They are the gatekeepers. It's going to take quite an effort for RQ to catch up. Not impossible.
Okay, you know what? Actually, no. I'm going to disagree. I actually think Falcons are the gatekeepers right now because they're taking points away from teams that kind of need it.
I mean, that's true. But if Falcons play safe like they did in the previous 2 rounds, then
There's no way. They have nothing to lose, Husky. You know Falcons. Like when they're in a position where they have nothing to lose, I think Falcons are just going to go all out and it's going to mess with the lobby.
Yeah.
We're going to roll for the map. What do you think? What's the map, Husky? Quick prediction.
Where do I go? I want to go back to
Solara. Nextera and Solara? Okay.
I want Nextera.
I think it's Solara. I think we're going to mess up the game. Let's see, Husky. What is it?
Has to be Nextera, right? Come on.
No, you watch. It's going to absolutely be like a bonkers map.
And you've been on point today.
Oh,
Technically,
It's
you
kinda
did
like
mention
Solara.
this. You did mention this at the start of the day. What if we go with the Kalahari again? Well, you get what you wish for. Maybe RQ has a chance to redeem themselves again for the earlier blunder.
But they're 56 points. For them to even make it into second, they would need 19 points alone just to break into second, and then they have to offset everything else that Buriram, Flash, and Bigatron score, and maybe AG as well. So I think RRQ is out of the running, but they're also going to be So because it's Kalahari, I'm going to tell you right now, RRQ and Falcons are going to mess the lobby up. They are Kalahari specialists. Anytime these two teams are getting eliminations and placement points, those are points that are not going to AG, to Bigatron, to Buriram, to Flash, and to Aurora. So if I am one of these top teams right now, and if you are the biggest man in the lobby, you hot drop one of these two teams. You gotta hot drop either RRQ or Falcons, kick them out of the lobby, and then try and win the game. That's a big goal. But it's game 6. I think if you don't start taking drastic measures, especially if you're at risk of not making it to top 2, you gotta go all out. You only live once.
I mean, you do only live once. Oh, I'm trying to think it if that's the
Stop thinking.
That's the way forward.
Rub your brain cells quicker. Okay, you can borrow mine. We can rub all of our brain cells together. Come on. Think.
Okay, I mean, to your credit, they did win some of the hot drops they do. I'm just not sure if that's what they would think of doing if you catch my drift, right? Because they're not the kind of like if it's Falcons, like sure, I know Falcons are gonna hot drop, but I'm not sure if Aurora would do that.
Okay. Are we gonna do a prediction here? Who do you think is getting the booyah on this map?
What? We're going straight to prediction? Okay.
Why not? It's game 6. We're gonna have some fun.
Alright, Falcons will get the booyah.
Falcons got the booyah. Okay, I am going to say... I think... Okay, Flash got Kalahari last round.
They did.
So, I almost want to say Flash, but I also think they kind of got the booyah because RRQ decided to make that really crazy play. I'm going all in. I think Buriram is like... Let's just get top 2 and that's it. I think it's Buriram.
You think it's Buriram? Okay.
I think it's Buriram. Yeah, I think it's Buriram.
Alright. I mean, that's fair enough. Now let's see which prediction comes true. Let's see if Aurora can make it.
And then we're both going to be wrong and it'll be someone else because we've cursed them now. Because I know both of us, we tend to have very bad curses.
The best teams, curses don't work on the best team. Like I've tried it on Buriram many times and they still won world championships. So I think it's doable, but we'll see. I mean, very nice drop spot right down the center too.
It's good that it's neutral because I think for any teams that have a not so favorable drop point at map 6, I don't think they'd be pretty happy about that. So, all right, let's see what everyone is able to pull off here. Because for some of our teams, this is their last chance. Some of them are very capable of making it into top 2. We have to keep an eye out on our top performers and who's going to get eliminated first. Now, we do have a bit of a hot drop happening. It's AG and Onyx. They don't want to give this up. They love Maze.
They do. I mean, even here, see AG. If Onyx can win this, then you eliminate one of the contenders, which will be good news. But it's a tall ask.
It's a big ask from Onyx. Hey, they've got nothing to lose, okay? I think this is where Onyx is actually going to shine. Let's see. Can Onyx get rid of AG? Because this will blow the doors wide open for the leaderboard so far. They're not looking too healthy. There's Zyro, first player to go down on the side of Onyx, but Nameless is low. Putra is the next one to fall. Baris, in the meantime, taken out by Adam. Maybe it's not too bad. It's a 2 versus 2. But on the low ground, Nameless and Cypher, they're both so low. If Adam gets the one tap, Nameless and
got
Cypher,
him!
they get sniped! They got them!
Oh, that could not have gone any. That could not have gone any better. But Dude did get away.
But wait. RRQ's here. RRQ is coming. Are they going to farm these points? I saw one of the players get revived though, so Onyx is back to 4. But RRQ, are they gonna ruin the parade?
Onyx are still in it. AG are also still in it. Dude was able to slip away into the shadows, so he got the revive back. So it's not the end game yet for AG, but Onyx sure as heck cashed him on some juicy points, and now, like you said, is RRQ knocking on their door. Let's see if they can make this work. In fact, Secret WAG is also here, so Onyx might have a lot more than they can chew. With 2 teams barreling down onto them, Onyx will have to take a bit of an early loss.
Yeah, but at least they still have a full roster, so they have a way to play that game of catch-up if they're able to slip somebody away. But for RRQ, they have a point on the board there for themselves, so they have that 1 point to play with. I want to know what's happening with the other teams. Looks like Bigatron is under assault. They're actually launching themselves away. I can't tell who's shooting at them, though. It might be Heavy. Yeah, it was at a weird angle. I believe it might have been Heavy there, so... Yeah, Bigatron trying to preserve their position right now, because right now Bigatron are in a very delicate position on that leaderboard.
Yep. Even for BTR, if they win this, they are almost guaranteed to secure that ticket to Vietnam. Another point in the back, Bigatron taking it slow and steady as we return to WAG versus RRQ right now. The 2 teams that kicked Onyx Olympus away from this compound are now at each other's throat. And good navigation around that dome to prevent any damage coming in, but still a 1v2, not easy to navigate, and he's using a lot of his glue wall reserves, getting ambushed from the top as well. It's a 3v1, he's holding on pretty well alone, but time has ran out. Huang An though able to respond in kind with 2 of his own, and T-Quick comes in for the rescue. RRQ forced to back off.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward spot here. 18 Deer is going to trail his team a bit low on health. Ma'al is there to provide support if they need to. Actually going to be sending Ma'al away, and instead 18 Deer is going to be there to buy time for his teammate to escape. So, yeah, Ma'al, he is able to slip away for now, but looks like Flash just looming around the corner, going to actually meet up with WAG here. Now, this is big news here, Husky, because we know that Flash, this was the team that got the Booyah last time. They are within range of being able to make it into top 2 if they can find the points.
And now they have 2 points head start already. WAG,
they just need more.
They're off to a hot start, and we did say WAG can get off to a hot start at the start of the game, then suddenly things will look very good for them. At least that's what they've shown us at the start of the evening. Flash taking on a challenge ABCD, leads the charge. God, what a shot! From downtown! And they were able to wipe out WAG just like that. Flash are on the board.
Flash are on the board, WAG are out, so that's going to be 1 team off the board and out of the running to steal those points away from our leaderboard contenders. So Flash, this is a sign. This is a sign for Flash fans that they are very well poised and ready to take that top 2 spot. They just have to find another opportunity. Looks like Argon MY going to be within range of both Aurora and Buriram, so they'll have to be a little bit careful traversing the map. It's very open, it's very wide, and they're not even using anything like a vehicle to help them. So they're really just out in the open and exposed. And I'm scared here, Husky, because Aurora, the team's kind of split.
I'm not really sure what the plan was. Felt like, again, they're trying to play safe to preserve as much points as possible, but if teams are actively hunting them down, eventually you will have to show some resistance, and Aurora not really showing resistance just yet, and it's gonna look a bit scary if this continues.
Yeah, they're kind of hoping this ends, but it looks like it's not going to end as Adam just hits the floor, didn't even get a chance to breathe. They do buy him back though, so Onyx are still up and running, but if Argon MY continue to chase them like this, if they want to continue to pursue, they're just going to starve this team out. But it looks like instead they're going to play it a little bit more passive. Both teams going to be splitting up, and I guess that's going to be it for that gunfight. We do have Falcons on the screen right now. Haven't really done anything, just mainly been focusing on looting and trying to get into position. Looks like Trapsla's caught in the meantime though, so that's a point going into Heavy's pocket. Although Wasana did get caught out there thanks to Kutuan. We do have Get High who's able to pick up his teammates, so Buriram are going to be 4-man strong, but there's a lot of teams here. There's Heavy around the corner, there's Argon MY as well. Wasana about to be jumped on top of. Oh, it's a little bit scary here for Buriram. The team is a little split.
It is. I mean, for Wasana, at least they were able to recover him. So, I think all in all, right now for BRU, they should be able to get out of this without much problem. Let's say the same for the side of Heavy, who are willing to take on the challenge. This could work out in their favor, but Heavy ends up dropping to BRU, and that's exactly what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, that's something you got to be worried about here for Heavy. We still have Jonah and Wasana there, and I believe Moshi is in the distance as well, ready to snipe. So Alan can't even stick his head out. And we still have Kutuan. He is on the outer edge, but he also can't expose himself either. So this is just an awkward spot for Heavy. They're kind of forced to win this. Oh, but they get Wasana. That's a huge pick.
Big stuff. That
look at that, Falcons. Falcons are in the corner.
Falcons is here. Jonah is also low. It's the lightning zone as well. He got hit by the lightning.
Oh my gosh.
The explosive. He just needs one more to connect, but he couldn't find the angle just yet. But eventually, they get the knock, and Moshi finds a mass revive. So all that work that Heavy put in did not matter at all.
The game's too heavy, Husky. It's too heavy. Buriram are still looking to go for top 2. Now, at the moment, the leaderboard scoreboard, we have AG leading, Bigatron in second place, but Flash is currently tied with Bigatron. So if Flash can find more eliminations than Bigatron, they're already in position to take that second spot away. So it's going to be a battle between Indonesia and Vietnam. And even Buriram, actually 77 points across 3 teams, Husky. Insane.
Buriram, every time you count them out, they just come back stronger, and this is starting to feel like that run where BRU is about to come back strong and just demolish everyone. It is a bit scary right now. Tororo takes out traps. Argo MY's chances basically snuffed out in an instant with only one survivor remaining.
Oh man, this game, this is actually too quick for Kalahari, Husky. Normally Kalahari, we still have like 11 teams. We're down to 9 already. So everyone is gunning for those elimination points. And you can see teams are also desperately trying to get enough coins to also bring their teammates back if they get picked up. Now, the thing is, we do have 3 teams in the vicinity. We've got actually 4. Falcons here, we have Onyx nearby, we have Bigatron nearby, Aurora is in the distance as well. Twisted Minds is right next to Aurora too. There's so many teams, and you can see how desperate everybody is to grab these eliminations because the race at the top is so close.
Yeah, it really narrowed down. The cutoff line has definitely been blurred. Twisted Minds against Aurora. Can Aurora survive this? Oh, the nade from Diamond might have just ended their chance. Aurora, they need a bit more as they do take jump. Zuez trying to salvage the situation. Diamond comes in, the glue wall, doing a decent job. Zuez! He is single-handedly pulling his team back from the dead, and they have effectively fended off against Twisted Minds.
That last second glue wall, I think, actually saved them. The fact that it went down at the perfect timing prevented what could have potentially been a lethal shot and taken Aurora out of the competition. Oh, what a desperate play. But you can see, again, everybody's desperate to pick up these points. In the meantime, though, we can see AG taking out Dutz on the side of RRQ, and RRQ still on the run, trying to escape the clutches of AG, because AG also know that, yes, they are leading, but if they can farm these points away from the rest of the competition, they are going to guarantee their place in either first or second on that leaderboard, and basically means they guarantee their spot in that grand final. RRQ in absolute shambles. They do have Ma'al there to go for the team buyback, but dang, this is going to be an uphill climb for RRQ if they are somehow still gunning for that booyah.
Yep. Things are only going to get harder from this point onwards. Falcons and Onyx again about to encounter one another.
Look at Bigatron. Bigatron is coming.
Koja with good patience. They find 2. This is free pickoff.
Oh my gosh.
And Falcons have no idea what hit him.
They have no idea, and it's the last team. It is Bigatron coming in to ruin their hopes and dreams. There goes Adam, taken out by Falcons. Pina by himself, gonna take down Putra. Crime is out in the open. Zyro is trying to escape as well. Zyro looks like he might have been able to slip away for now, but can he completely escape? Pina's looking for him. He wants to grab that point. Falcons pick it up. They're up to 9 points, and they remove Onyx from the lobby. We're down to 7 teams, Husky. 7! This is unheard of on Kalahari.
Yeah, 7 teams, and better yet, we're in the late game. I don't know how much more closer this can get, because right now it really does seem like it can be anyone's game. Aurora Gaming finds themselves smack dab in the center. I'm not really sure if that's the best idea. There's a bit of high ground to work with, but you are essentially surrounded by everyone else.
There's so many sharks in the water and there's just not enough food for everybody to gobble up. So I think we're going to start seeing some of these sharks try to bite each other to reclaim that territory for themselves. But this is such an awkward circle, Husky, because yes, we do have less teams than we normally would in a Kalahari game, but this is a very open circle. The only compounds you really have to work with are mostly around command posts. We do have a couple towards that road on that bottom right-hand side next to Stone Ridge, which is occupied by Buriram. And then we also have AG as well at the sub. But look at that next circle. That is basically in no man's land.
Oh boy. This is gonna be so tough. I think for Aurora, I'm definitely slightly worried about them, because I don't know if they can handle this immense pressure, and you haven't taken into account the fact that this circle might or will move when we reach the late game stage. AG 7 eliminations themselves.
Okay, just trying to do some math here. I think if we are going to kick AG out of first place, they need to be taken out now. RRQ need to come in. They need to clear out AG right now. And also give them no elimination points on top of that. I think that might be the only way for AG to maybe lose that place in the top 2.
Oh!
Looks like Ma'al caught Nameless and Cypher! Huge picks! AG down to 2 players!
Ask and you shall receive, Danny. RQ doing a wonderful job of stopping AG. AG still have a pretty good chance as 2 of the players slipped away. BRU. Oh, that's Aurora. Aurora should see them, right? Aurora's right underneath. This is going to be a big challenge. Aurora needs to somehow get through this. They have the containers as cover. But
Aurora need to get rid of them too, because if they don't get rid of Buriram, I don't think Aurora have enough points to break into top 2. I don't even think they're close.
Yeah, they might expose themselves to Falcons as well. This is not going to be an easy task for Aurora, but it's what they have to do to prove that they deserve to go into the finals.
Aurora, they got to pick up the pace. Otherwise, I think they're just going to be outpaced by the rest of the competition. And Buriram would be a great way to start. It's just, with how well protected this team is, it's going to be really tough. RRQ in the meantime, though, struggling on the high ground. Looks like Bigatron and Flash are going to be cutting RRQ's dreams and removing another team from the competition, leaving us with 22 players and 6 teams in the game.
At least one of them is still Aurora, so there is still a chance
look at
there.
Flash. Look at that circle. Is this circle following Flash? That is insane.
Maybe it's destined. Maybe Flash is the team that can do it.
All right, here we go.
Aurora.
It's time to move. Bigatron's moving as well, Husky. Someone's got to get rid of Bigatron, because the more points that they take, they're removing points from the rest of the lobby as well.
Yeah, Aurora also needs to start moving, thinking about how to do the Axel. That's a good start, and was able to get the snipe onto Jonah. Can they find more than that? Zuez again repeats the takedown. Jonah did get picked back up. BTR against Flash. This one is also very important for the finals tickets, as BTR is in a very comfortable first place right now.
Oh, get high. Oh no. Falcons causing some problems here for Buriram. It looks like they were camping that little post, but it might have come back to bite them here. On fire. That's it. Buriram is out.
And very good job from Aurora, honestly.
AG out too.
is also out. This is going to be super close. All these teams, except for Falcons, have a chance to get into the grand finals because of that.
Oh boy. Oh, I think out of all the teams here, Aurora needs to get most of the points if they want to somehow break into that top 2. Bigatron and Flash, I think they are basically playing defense right now, trying to grab those points. And look at where this next circle is going to move, Husky.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Aurora, they're not in the best shape either. 2 of their members have already been knocked down. And they have so much work, so much enemies that they need to go through.
Kuroro, they're cutting down Aurora's numbers. I think Aurora might be in trouble here.
Aurora's down 3. BTR and Flash still duking it out.
It's
Ever
moving.
so
It's time to
slightly.
move.
Here comes the circle. It's gonna start rotating away. This is crunch time.
Oh no! Oh no! We're seeing numbers, we're seeing players hit the floor. There goes Azriel thanks to Flash. Oh, it's an absolute disaster on the opposite side of the map. We still have Limit, we still have Axel, but these two playing against that blue zone, I don't know if they have enough gas in the tank. Limit's going to be taken down by Seabank from Bigatron, so now it's going to be really Bigatron versus the Flash up on this high ground battle. We still have Aurora Axel hiding on the outskirts, trying to play the game of placements.
He's still 1 point away. Is that enough?
He needs more. I think he needs more. There's no way. I think he needs more. He needs
they have
a
no
lot
idea
more
where he is,
steals.
right? Do they see him? Flash, they're backtracking.
I think Flash no. I think Flash no. There's no way they just let him go for these little sneaks. And yeah, I think he's been spotted. He's running into the blue zone. Oh,
Here
he gets in.
Axel able to sneak through, but just for a short while. I think BTR is almost guaranteed, but has Aurora done enough to cover the distance?
I don't know. I think it's really going to come down to the final result. If Bigatron can claim all these points and Flash get nothing, I think it... actually, I don't know. I don't know. We're going to have to see the final result, Husky.
Oh, this is so tough. I have a feeling that it's close, but like they almost did enough, but not enough. That's what I'm feeling right now.
I think it was the pressure. It's the pressure knowing that they're so close and you're fighting with the internal instinct to play it safe. I think that's everyone's gut feeling. Like, you are in a really good position to win something. You want to play it safe. And you can see, like, both for Flash and Bigatron, they don't want to leave because they don't need to. And I think at this point, maybe Bigatron have done the math and they say, okay, guys, we made it. We made it. We got the points. This is just a bonus. Deeks is just trying to summon Flash at this point in time.
I mean, Bigatron 100% made it right now. It's more of whether Flash has done enough. But I think, based off of previous round, they probably have.
Yeah, there was a very, very small point difference between these teams.
Yeah, I think Flash did enough.
I think they might have done enough. So it might be Bigatron and Flash.
I think
it might be it's a final hurrah here, Husky. I think we've got to celebrate somehow. We're still going to see this 3 versus 4 between Bigatron and Flash. I think now it's just a case of who wins this. And unfortunately for Flash, they're down a player. So yeah, 3 versus 4. The odds are not looking too good, but it's still 43%.
I think BTR should win this. But you also have to give credit to Flash for having 2 Booyah so far, right? They got it in game 1.
Yes.
And then they got it just now in game 4 or 5 as well. Cryo Mine gets thrown now. Kojak instantly blows up 1, but ABCD responds. Kojak with the grenade launcher is pretty dangerous. Switches to the rifle to try and duke it out. ABCD goes down. There it is. BTR with the Booyah. And almost a guaranteed appearance in the grand finals in Vietnam.
I am almost certain Bigatron made it. They had so many eliminations to their name. Even before we got to essentially our final 4, they were hunting teams. I think they knew out of sheer desperation, if they didn't make that call to play hyper aggressive on Kalahari, that they wouldn't have had the points to be able to make it. I just want to see the final score. I want to see the final scoreboard. I want to see the gap between our top 2 and 3rd and 4th place teams. Like, is it as close as we think it is? Or did Bigatron and Flash literally just blow this game out of the water? Because I feel like Bigatron, I think their points are going to be massive.
I think so
Second
too.
place team, I don't know. I think that one's the one that's kind of in the water here.
I feel like it's going to be extreme. It's going to be very close, as in a way where the difference between, you know, second place, which in this case is most likely Flash, and Aurora Gaming, probably single-digit points. Probably the difference would have been if Aurora Gaming finished 2nd instead of 3rd, they would have been able to make it. That's what I'm thinking right now, because I really felt like, you know, at least for Flash's sake, it would be quite sad if they landed 2 Booyahs before this and they still missed out the finals. But still, I think Aurora gave a very good fight, all things considered.
No, Aurora put up an amazing fight. I'm actually really, really surprised that this team did so well today. It was just the last 2 games, I think, where the team kind of lost. I don't know, whatever it was. It was like a spark. They had this spark from game 2 onwards that really just carried them through. Not only game 2 up until like game 4. And then after that, I think they just started to feel the pressure. Like, they realized they were so close to being top 2. They tried to play it safe, which sometimes it works, but I think a lot of teams kind of fall into that trap where it's like, you're leading, if you play consistent, you should be okay. Some teams, if they're just too hungry, they're going to outcompete a team that plays safe. And we saw in game number 5, like Aurora got punished for playing safe because I think they had 2 eliminations and they placed like, was it 6th? Like 5th or 6th place for placement? So that wasn't the best performance. And it dropped them from 1st place to 6th in 1 round. So it just goes to show how competitive the lobbies are for today, because we effectively have our top 12 teams playing today. The top 12 strongest teams in the league. So yeah, 2 of the top teams are going to be leaving the lobby today. They'll be guaranteeing grand final spots. Tomorrow should theoretically be easier, but everyone's still aiming for top 2. I don't think the games are going to get easier from here on out.
I mean, we say it's easier, but then we look at the teams that didn't make it. It's the top teams that we expected.
It's the top teams, yeah.
So it's, I don't think it's gonna get any easier, but it's the nature of competition, right? Sometimes you just have to, like, it doesn't go the way you wanted it to. I think it's a feeling that, you know, most of these teams know very, very well since they've been doing this for a very long time. I just hope that for tomorrow, for the players' sake, they are prepared for what's to come, because I think this can only get harder.
I'd be more worried about everyone coming in, you know, tomorrow and the day after, because they see that lobby and they think, dang guys, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Those games are competitive.
I mean, tomorrow's teams are also quite hungry, right? Like the ones that, you know, I think especially for WAG, who missed out just by a little bit, they are going to be extremely hungry.
Yeah, so in case anyone's wondering who's going to be coming into tomorrow's games, it will be GOW and Shadow Esports. They'll be replacing our top 2 teams that are going to be exiting and basically waiting in the grand finals. So GOW fans and Shadow Esports fans, okay, get ready because your teams are about to play. The day after that, once we find out tomorrow's top 2 teams, we'll have Avida and EVOS Divine coming into play. I know a lot of people are waiting for EVOS to come in because, yeah, their phase 1 performance, I think, has left a lot of people not just dissatisfied, but maybe concerned, you know, about the state of the team. Who knows, maybe it's just a problem with phase 1. Maybe they fixed it after having a bit of a break and they're going to be fine for phase 2. But again, EVOS only are going to have 2 play days to essentially make it into grand final weekend. It's a scary time to be alive, Husky.
Yep, it certainly is. I think for even for this game, BTR, Koja, that did a lot of work. I think BTR, they were pretty sneaky this game. There were a lot of instances, the ones we saw between Falcons and Onyx Olympus, where BTR just had the right spot to work with and was able to cash in on 3 points. This one was the exact moment that gave them the lead, and then they didn't have to do much, right? We talked about how important command post was and how scary it is for Aurora to be in the center of the circle. And the exact same thing happened. Aurora just didn't have space to work with. They were surrounded by many teams. And then you have BTR, who didn't have to fight their way to the center. They just had to wait for the right time to strike.
Yeah. All right. We have to celebrate before we have a look at our final scoreboard here. So we have Bigatron, our team, to grab the booyah for match number 6 on Kalahari. Congratulations to them because they have played fantastic today. Very consistent. I was actually backtracking through our scoreboard throughout the day, and the lowest position Bigatron had been on the scoreboard is, I believe, hang on, give me a second. I think it was BTR. The lowest they've dropped is 6th, but they bounced back. And this was after game 5. They bounced back. So really, really impressive match day for Bigatron. They really stuck their finger out to try and get top 2. Like, they absolutely deserved it. This team, this wasn't a fluke. This wasn't luck. They outplayed everybody today.
Just very good consistency from this team that, you know, some of the, I think 2 of the players, I think Koja and Deeks, were at last this EWC, and I think they definitely remember that feeling where they came so close to a trophy. And it was also one of those, one of their first few seasons, right? They're fresh off the boat as a competitor, but I think they always knew in them that this team is something else. That Bigatron had what it takes. It's just waiting for the right time to let it flesh out. And today is a very good example. You know, you lock in the grand final slot early on, more time to prepare, and this is really going to help the rest, I think, of the community see them in a more positive manner. Because I think people were looking at RQ, they were looking at Esports, but Bigatron a lot of times go under the radar.
Yep. So here's the final game standings for match number 6. We can see the point distribution between our final 12 teams for today. And in just a second, we're going to reveal who our top 2 teams are for today. That is going to be going straight to the finals weekend. We will not be seeing them from tomorrow onwards. But whoever did get top 2, they worked hard for it. Our top 2 teams for today is going to be Bigatron and AG Global with 98 and 92 points between these 2 teams. The closest team to AG was Flash with 88 points. They were just 4 points off of being able to tie with AG. If they tied with AG, they would have won the tiebreaker because of Booyahs. So it's really unfortunate for Flash that they missed out. They just needed the extra points from that final round. And of course, we also have Aurora also tied with 88 points. But again, even though Aurora had an amazing round with, I think they got 11 eliminations in that previous round, they needed more. They needed 4 more and they needed placement points. And just going off of that final circle, Aurora really just weren't in the right place to be able to secure placement points.
I think if they finished second place, they would have, I think with a 90% certainty would have made it, right? Because that also means extra eliminations. They would have won the tiebreaker against AG anyways. But if this is what they showed us today, I am optimistic for tomorrow. If they keep this up, Aurora will eventually make it to the finals. But team of the day will be Bigatron by Vitality. That's an extra $250 going into the pockets for showing us such a great performance in the opening day of Phase 2.
They can relax as well. They can watch all the games for the remainder of the weekend. Just analyze their opponents as they get ready for grand finals, because that's really the goal here for our top 2 teams, right? Like Bigatron and AG, they're now in research mode. They're getting ready for finals because, again, going into finals, you really want to have any kind of advantage you have in that regard. So it could be in the form of knowledge, watching the games, trying to figure out what kind of interesting strategies you want to bring into that final, because once we hit that grand final weekend, the games are going to go from 110% to 200%. And I hope everyone competing is going to be ready for it. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are still trying to find out who our top 12 teams are going to be going into the grand final. But we already know that Bigatron and AG, our first 2 representatives, have been confirmed.
Yeah, and I mean the Bigatron social media team already posted that they are heading to Vietnam. That's how excited
I like how they
they are.
have their finger like ready on the social media button. They're just like, okay guys, ready? Press the button. Press the button.
With that being said, we're gonna head it over to an interview with Conchita with BTR. Conchita, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, casters and survivors. Now, this is the interview that we've all been waiting for, the Team of the Day interview. I'm here with Chris Joe, the coach of Bigatron by Fatality. Hello, coach.
Hello, Conchita.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for you. First of all, congratulations on being not only Team of the Day, but also securing the very first ticket to the grand final. Can you tell us what exactly is the winning team for Bigatron by Fatality this past couple of weeks?
Okay, first of all, I'm very grateful for today's result, especially for my boys to execute all the gameplays very well. And yeah, our winning formula, it's very clearly we play with double sniper role and with single rusher and 1 grenadier.
Oke, so aku akan translate dulu nih buat teman-teman kita yang di Indonesia. Jadi tadi aku bilang selamat, gak hanya untuk jadi Team of the Day, tapi juga tentunya untuk mengamankan tiket pertama ke Grand Final yang pasti udah dinanti-nantikan banget, memastikan diri terbang ke Vietnam. Tadi aku tanya juga winning formulanya apa, dan winning formulanya adalah apa tadi coach?
Double sniper role.
Double sniper role. Dan ini kan di awal sebenarnya sempat dipertanyakan juga ya. It turns out so well for Bigatron by Fatality. So once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Second question, with everything that BTR has achieved today, how are you feeling? Is it something that you've predicted before? Apakah apa yang tercapai oleh Bigatron hari ini sesuatu yang memang sudah coach prediksikan sejak awal? Dan gimana nih perasaannya, kondisi tim juga saat ini seperti apa?
Honestly, it's a little bit tired for our preparation this past 3 or 4 months. And I'm very, like I said before, I'm very grateful for this result. And I'm very happy to crush any dubs from the others.
jawabannya keren banget, bangga banget ya bisa mematahkan, menghancurkan keraguan dari pihak-pihak lain. Meskipun memang preparationnya itu cukup panjang dan melelahkan, perjalanan yang berlika-liku tentunya untuk BTR, tapi akhirnya bisa terbayarkan dengan sangat manis. Keren banget, oh my god, I'm so happy. Last question. We all know that this is the third week. It's time to get extra serious. What do you think should be the focus? Is there any helpful tips that you could give to the other Indonesian team that are still fighting for the spot at the grand final?
Yeah, for other Indonesian teams, like the team for the FFWC, like we can say unleash the fire. So you guys can unleash all your strategy on the next match day.
Now that is a great answer for real. Jadi tadi aku tanya, apa sih sebenarnya tips yang bisa dikasih nih buat tim-tim Indonesia lain yang juga masih berusaha banget memperjuangkan spot di Grand Final? Jawaban dari Coach Chris Jo adalah sesuai nih dengan tema Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia 2026 Spring, yaitu Unleash the Fire, lepaskan semua potensi dan juga kemampuan yang dimiliki karena sisa waktu ini tentunya akan sangat menentukan. Make it or break it untuk tim-tim Indonesia yang masih berjuang. I know I said that was the last question, but can I still ask you one more thing?
Yes, of course.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the fans of Bigatron by Fatality who has been supporting you throughout the journey?
Thank you very much, Bigot Troopers, for always supporting us, and especially for my family and my teammates, player family. It's very mean to us.
Oh, terima kasih sekali lagi buat Bigot Troopers ya, karena aku rasa shoutout buat Bigot Troopers tuh penting banget, apalagi di awal saat mereka meragukan kalian. Banyak banget nih orang-orang di luar sana yang meragukan BTR dan sekarang bisa dijawab dengan mengamankan tiket pertama ke Grand Final. So congratulations once again Coach Chris Jo. Yes. Congratulations Bigatron by Fatality. Now let's get back to the casters, shall we? Take it away, casters.
Congratulations to Bigatron. They earned it, okay? They earned it. The smiles, the excitement, the happiness, they deserve it. But at the same time, they're not wrong, right? The whole like, reveal your strats, guys. We want to see all your strats.
I'm a bit, okay, a part of me is shocked in a good way. Because, you know, like we've had the privilege of watching a lot of different titles. This is one of the few coaches that just reveals his strat. And I love it, right? Like, you might as well play it at your strongest.
No, it's a trap. I'm telling you right now, I think it's a trap. I think it's a trap. There's no way a coach reveals his strat during an interview. I think they have something else. They're just revealing this now to trick people going into the grand finals. You got to think ahead. Okay, Husky, you fell for the trap.
Yeah, he activated his trap.
You fell for the trap.
And I walked into it. But now I'm
Yes.
excited for what's to come tomorrow. I think now we have reached the end of day 1, but phase 2 has only just begun. More games, more teams. Tomorrow, 2 new teams will join the 12 squads aiming for the grand final ticket to Vietnam. Congratulations to BTR by Vitality as well as AG Global. We're gonna sign off for tonight. It's Husky and Danily. Wish you guys a good night. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, for more Free Fire action.